Oh, yeah. Hey.
That's a thinker.
Is it?
No.
No.
I knew it right
Yeah,
away.
melon. Yeah. I didn't know a honeydew was a melon, though.
Yeah.
Is that what threw you off?
Yeah, I thought a honeydew was like a list that your wife gives you.
Spelled differently.
Oh, okay. Melon. You could say, where do melons go?
No, because then you say melon. You don't want to say melon twice.
Oh, yeah. That's
Cantaloupe. Maybe should I just say, where does cantaloupe go for the summer?
What's in... What's another melon?
I know.
Watermelon.
Honeydew, cantaloupe. What's the green? No, that's honeydew.
Yeah, you can't say watermelon because you can't say melon twice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there another melon? Cantaloupe.
I don't want to look up melons on this. Types of melons.
Types of melon. There's all sorts. It's got to be.
But honeydew's the green one, right? The light green.
I don't know.
When you get a nice fruit dish.
I didn't know what a honeydew was. I only heard of it in reference to.
Is it
a list.
regional?
A banana is a melon.
What?
That's a berry.
They don't go. He doesn't go to John Cougar's melon camp.
He goes to.
He goes to Chuck Berry's.
Hey, Chuck Berry's camp.
Oh,
all right. Enough of this shenanigans.
All of the other melons have the word melon in them.
Okay, thank you. So honeydew it is.
All right. Peter Harlambu is going to be joining us. Kimor Abrego Garcia from Puerto Rico is being held. Now, this poor guy. Why is this guy the epicenter of the entire universe when it comes to undocumented immigrants? How many resources have you put on this one guy to get him out of the country? Who knew he was public enemy number one? He's now being held as the battle continues over his deportation, the on-again, off-again deportation. So Peter Harlambu's got that in 1 hour. Mike Dubusky is going to be joining us. Elon Musk not happy with OpenAI and Apple. Elon Musk making friends all over the place. We'll get into that with Mike Dubusky in our tech segment. Bob Ramsey's going to be along. Antonio French is going to swing by. We'll talk some local news with him. Angie Markoway's got some travel tips. Ben Barnett is going to be joining us to talk trees. And hold on to your bonnet, because in the 9 o'clock hour, Dan Borgmeyer of St. Charles Mayor is going to be joining us to talk about this data center, which has turned into public enemy number one. St. Charles just passed a law. It is the first county in the United States to put a moratorium on data centers at the time when President Trump is signing executive orders wanting the exponential growth of data centers. So, and I could see if the city of St. Louis said, we don't want anything to do with Donald Trump's executive orders, but for the city of St. Charles to sort of turn their back on Donald Trump, I find quite fascinating. So we'll get into that with Dan Borgmeyer, who's going to be joining us in the 9 o'clock hour.
Is this vote all in because of the proposed data center? So this all just happened.
That's exactly right.
Did they do like an emergency vote? Like we got to hurry up and do this.
They had to. They apparently it was such a thing. There's something is not right in River City with this story. Because there's something going on, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, and I don't know exactly what's going on, but to show up with printed placards and signs, it seems to me, and I have no proof of this, but I wouldn't be shocked if these protesters were being paid or otherwise compensated because somebody somewhere is upset with something, right? I mean, I don't know if it's one person who was in negotiation to sell their land for the data center, and they ended up going with the other piece of land. So they said, we're going to do everything we can to stop this from happening. So they whipped up a bunch of, community support and printed up placards and down with data center, but to show up and to be so over the top for a data center at a time when data centers are what communities are actively seeking seems so strange. And so we're going to talk to Dan Borgmeyer about this because there's something's amiss. To be that upset over a data center when St. Charles has 8 of them.
What's their main? It's the what's their main argument?
Their main argument is let's throw as much stuff on the wall and see how much sticks.
So it's not just one thing. Like
it's everything. It's everything. If you build this, aliens will come down and steal our children.
Well, that's true.
St. Charles has 8 data centers already. One already in the city of St. Charles. Did anybody complain when Citibank and MasterCard and all these others, Kansas City just opened up $1 billion data center last week? And it was revered as, cutting edge technology. This is wonderful. This will add jobs and constructions. And not to mention, people are like, it's only gonna bring 250 jobs. Okay. But the property tax that it's going to generate for the schools is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. So why would we? Well,
is it run by ISIS or something? Like, what's the?
That was my point,
right? Like, is it is it a nefarious entity that's going to infiltrate?
They're trying to, demonize a data center at a time when President Trump is signing executive orders saying all full steam ahead with data centers. So it kind of doesn't make any sense. That's why there's another angle to this story. Somebody's trying to pull the levers because they're not happy about something. So we'll get into that in the 9 o'clock hour with Dan Borgmeyer. All right, it's 6:17 here, Big 550, KTRS.
6:14.
What did I say?
17.
7:19. 8:15. 25:72.
Not just the hour,
Niner.
but the minute.
I just want to know where you got a 7. I'm just. It's one thing if you invert the numbers.
My problem is I say the time at the exact time I'm trying to check the text line. So my brain I can't do 2 things at once. So that's if it's not an excuse.
It's just like
it's just I look at the time and then I look at the text and I'm just start talking in tongues as I'm trying to read the texts as they come in.
It's 84126 right now.
Let's check in with Captain Paul Kopsky, St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Good morning, Captain Paul.
Good morning, McGraw. Right now, no problems on the roads. We just have our early morning construction notes. There's road work on westbound 5570 between Illinois 111 and 203. 1 eastbound lane and 1 westbound lane of 70 will be closed over the Musial Bridge from 9 o'clock this morning until 3 this afternoon for road work. 1 eastbound lane of 370 will be closed on the Discovery Bridge over the Missouri River from 9 o'clock this morning until 3 this afternoon for road work. And 1 lane of 109 will be closed at Clayton Road from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. today for construction. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. WoodsBasementSystems.com.
Boy, if you're a fan of fall weather, you have got to be eating this up. I expect highs in the 70s again today. This is the 3rd day in a row. A ridge of high pressure sitting right on top of us, which will keep our skies mainly sunny today. Up to 78 for the high this afternoon. And then we drop back into the 60s this evening. Just gorgeous, clear and cool tonight. A low, again, almost chilly at 56. Just a hint warmer tomorrow, up to 81 for the high Wednesday, but humidity remains very low. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers for the Big 550 KTRS.
Let's talk about Walter Knoll Florist, because if you need flowers, you need to check in with Walter Knoll Florist, WKF.com. What's great about Walter Knoll is that they've been taking care of St. Louis families for all these many years. In fact, as the kids head back to college, the grandkids are off to their first year in college. Right about this time, feeling a little bit homesick, right? They just got in. It's kind of still new. They're just starting to meet friends, just trying to figure out where they are. I have a nice little care package from Walter Knoll to say, hey, just giving you a shout out from home. Here's some Billy Goat chips. Here's some Dad's cookies. Here's some Sugar Fire barbecue sauce for you. Just a little comforts of home. A great way to sort of let them know that you're thinking of them while not being overbearing. Walter Knoll does it. He's got these great gift baskets that can send anywhere in the country. Walter Knoll's great because they're not just flowers, but teddy bears and cookies and all these St. Louis items. Whether it's flowers or something else, Walter Knoll will send it and make sure it gets there on time and delivered correctly. 1-800-341-ROSE. 1-800-341-ROSE or WKF.com.
Experience your banking your way with Royal Banks of Missouri's interactive teller machines. No matter rain or shine, hot or cold, our friendly staff is there to provide real-time assistance through a live virtual session on our machines, even during evenings and on Saturdays. Visit an interactive teller machine at any Royal Banks location and just tap the screen to enjoy convenient, secure banking support. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
For over 50 years, Massa's has been a local, family-owned restaurant known for delicious Italian food the whole family can enjoy. Visit Massa's St. Charles for daily lunch specials and bottomless mimosas during Sunday brunch. And remember, now is the time to book the new banquet room for your holiday party. Call 636-925-2961 or visit massasofcourse.com and click on St. Charles for more information. And now is the time to book your holiday party in the new banquet room. It's Massa's, of course.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella Windows specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a Banner Day.
St. Louis Union Station is adding to the family fun with 3 new rides in the outdoor wheel park. The Flying Louie is a swashbuckling pirate-themed ride that swings to 42.5 feet. The Locomotion is a train-themed roller coaster in the wheel park. And the Wave Swinger is a classic swing ride modeled after the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. Plan your next visit to St. Louis Union Station to enjoy the new attractions with your family. For more info and tickets, go to stlouisunionstation.com.
Stay connected with the Big 550 KTRS, streaming 24/7 online at ktrs.com or on the KTRS app. Powered by JBL Financial. Stream Straight Talk on Retirement every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Health insurance can feel complicated, but Medica health plans are different. See, we're non-profit, which means people first, not shareholders. And we're right here in St. Louis with affordable plans for local care you trust. Your doctors, your hospitals, to help you feel your best. With Medica, your health coverage can feel a bit simpler. And now, we're here for you. Medica Health Plans. You're not just covered, you're cared for.
McGraw Millhaven on KTRS.
Excuse me, 6:21 here, Big 550.
Are you looking at the text line?
I'm looking at everything all at once. If we get the data centers, it will help with things like moving brackets on the back of TVs to raise or lower your TV. I finally figured that out last night while watching the baseball game. In actuality, what I was doing was, yesterday we got in this conversation, I was trying to hang a TV, but I hung it on the wall, but I wanted it higher. So I took it off and I tried to raise or lower the brackets on the back of the TV, and I did it wrong. So I wanted to raise it, but I really lowered it, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. It was somewhat confusing. But in actuality, I can't explain it, but I know what I did wrong. I moved down the holes, thus moving. I thought I was moving up the hooks, but I was really moving them down. If that makes any sense, right? Anyway, I'll shut up. It's such a mind meld. I can't get into it. Hey, listen to this. The top dog breed in America.
Ooh, can I guess?
Sure.
Oh, wait. I don't know much about dogs. Labradors. Okay. Golden Retrievers.
Okay. Well, Golden Retriever is 3.
Shih Tzus.
They're 8. You have to be careful with that.
What are those dogs that don't breathe well that like cute? Like,
Pugs.
yes, that thing.
Here you go. Dachshund Hound is 10. Yorkshire Terrier 9. What you said 8. Golden Doodle 7. French Bulldog 6. German Shepherd 5. American Pit Bull Terrier 4. Golden Retriever 3. Chihuahua.
Is there an L in there? Let's figure this out.
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua. Where was that
That's
L?
Chihuahua?
Where's that L coming from? You had it in
That's
L.
Chihuahua? Where's double? That's a
Do
double.
it again.
CHIHU.
Chihuahua. Wah.
Wah.
Keep going.
HU is wah is a W sound?
Yeah. Wah.
I didn't know that.
Chihuahua.
I didn't know that. Learn something new every day.
Chihuly.
All right. Chihuahua.
That's the glass exhibit at Botanical Garden.
And the number 1 Labrador Retriever.
Labs.
That according to the U.S. News and World Report.
Now, one of those shouldn't count because it's a crossbreed.
A Golden Doodle?
The Golden Doodle.
Yeah.
What is a Golden Doodle?
That's a golden retriever and a Labradoodle. Or a Labradoodle, same thing, but I mean a poodle. Yeah.
Oh.
There's a Golden Doodle and a Labradoodle, right? A Labrador and a poodle. Yeah. Yeah, those are the hottest things going. Listen to this. If you open up your mortgage statement and your mortgage go through the roof, insurance is soaring around the country. The average annual home insurance premium, $2,400. That's just to insure your home. That's the average. However, there are states that are worse than others. New Orleans or Louisiana is up over $6,000 a year for home insurance. The other one, Nebraska, over $6,000 average premium. Tornadoes and weather.
So this is all natural disaster related, right?
Severe weather. Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas up over $4,000.
Hurricanes,
hurricanes
floods,
or
tornadoes.
Yeah. Nebraska, $6,425. Louisiana, $6,200. Florida, $5,700. They're all vulnerable to extreme weather. Missouri and Illinois are in the 2,000 plus range. So the whole swath of the Midwest, from the Great Plains to the Upper Midwest to the Minnesota to the Montanas, the Dakotas, that's all up over $4,000.
What about California and the wildfire?
I'm sorry, $2,000. Was that? California is actually relatively very cheap.
Really?
All things considered,
Even after all the...
They have wildfires and mudslides.
Yeah. But I don't know why California and Nevada, the far west, is actually on the lower end of the scale. Yeah. But according to Bankrate, climate change is supercharging extreme weather events like hurricanes, increasing the odds of losses and claims, and driving up insurance premiums. Heck, you can't drive anywhere in town without seeing somebody on a roof fixing a roof somewhere around here.
It's going to be a tiny house nation.
Yeah.
What? It's the only thing we can afford.
Listen to this. According to a new study, artificial intelligence is, in fact, taking jobs of entry-level people, according to a first-of-its-kind Stanford study. There's been significant anecdotal evidence that AI-related jobs are taking the place of humans. Now, according to this new Stanford study, they can see for the first time the impact of artificial intelligence on entry-level jobs. Using ADP payroll data, Stanford researchers found that employment for young workers, 22 to 25, like software development and customer support, has dropped 16% since 2022. Rather have an artificial intelligence answer the phone, reroute the phone, and or develop software. This is the fastest, broadest change I've seen, economist and Stanford professor told Axios, noting that the only comparable shift was the one to remote work during the pandemic. Older workers and those in fields aren't seeing a measurable hit to job prospects, but it's that entry-level job that artificial intelligence is starting to eat away at. Interesting. So there you go. A couple of little interesting news nuggets around the world. And imagine spending all this money to become a software developer, and then the computer takes your job, right? I mean, that's $96,000 at Northwestern, and you get out and some computer took your job?
That would make me so much.
Right? I mean, that's no wonder people are so angry. 629 here, Big 550 KTRS. Captain Paul Kopsky, St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Good morning, Captain Paul.
Good morning, McGraw. Northbound 55 is running slow and stop and go at times at Bayless. There's road construction on westbound 5570 between Illinois 111 and 203. One eastbound lane and one westbound lane of 70 will be closed on the Musial Bridge from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. today for road work. One eastbound lane of 370 will be closed on the Discovery Bridge over the Missouri River from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. today for road work. And one lane of 109 will be closed at Clayton Road from 7 o'clock this morning until 3 this afternoon. This traffic report is brought to you by Stages St. Louis. Close out the season with Beautiful, the Carole King story. Tickets on sale now. Get yours while they last. More information available at stagesstlouis.org. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Weather for the next couple of days. I'm with the guys at Channel 4. This weather is delicious. Right now, we've got temperatures that are going to increase to a high of 78. Plenty of sunshine. We will take it. It's gorgeous out there. Overnight tonight, the low is going to be 55. Tomorrow, more of the same. We'll touch 80 on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with plenty of sunshine, a couple of clouds, and no rain anywhere in the forecast. 52 right now at the Arch at 6:31. Let's go back to the newsroom. Here's Rose Dalton.
President Donald Trump signed an executive order Monday threatening to withhold federal funding from local and state governments that allow cashless bail, arguing that it is a threat to public safety. Proponents of eliminating cash bail argue it penalizes poverty as wealthier individuals can pay to await trial outside jail. The House Oversight Committee is subpoenaing the estate of the late Jeffrey Epstein. Congressional lawmakers are trying to determine who was connected to the disgraced financier and whether prosecutors mishandled his case. In local headlines, St. Angela Merici in Florissant is serving as a shelter for those impacted by yesterday's explosion in North County. Donations are also being accepted to help the impacted residents. Those donations can be dropped off at the Blackjack Fire Station number 3. And Metro Transit will make schedule and routing adjustments to 14 Metro bus routes in Missouri and Illinois as part of the quarterly service change. Those changes go into effect on September 8th and are available online at metrostlouis.org/service change. 55 degrees. Time now is 6:32. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News.
Let's talk Bowen Dental Care. Headed over there next week to get my teeth cleaned. And the little one's coming with me. Her first experience with cavities, and good thing because Dr. Bowen's got a good bedside manner. And little ones with cavities, we'll see how all that goes. But I'm not too worried because of his great bedside manner. Look, whether you're a 5-year-old kid or you're a 55-year-old man, I'm 58. Sitting in the dentist chair can be a little scary prospect, right? It's those big old needles and big old sharp instruments. And Dr. Bowen, well, they've got a great bedside manner over there. So whatever you need done, Dr. Bowen is your family dentist of choice. 2 locations, Lee May Ferry Road down in South County, or up in North County on Dunn Road, just down from Johnny Londoff Chevrolet. At Bowen, he'll do everything that a family dentist will do, including implants. So many people have taken advantage of Dr. Bowen and his great practice of implants, whether it's a one-tooth problem or a full mouth extraction. These corporate dentists come in and charge you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, right? At Dr. Bowen, he can do it all starting for as low as $7,000. Why would you go with somebody who will charge you $30,000 when Dr. Bowen will charge you $7,000 for basically the exact same thing? Boain, Bowen, family run from the very beginning, took over the business from his dad. Good peeps. Bowen Dental Care, Boain, or simply securedentures.com.
Head to the stadium on Saturday, September 6th, when the Birds host the Giants. 20,000 fans, 16 and older, will score a limited edition Hall of Fame baseball card shirt, thanks to Edward Jones. This all-over print shirt features McGee, Forsch, Tudor, Coleman, the Wizard, Whitey, and her. It's a giveaway you won't want to miss. That's Saturday, September 6th. Get tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Willie McGee, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
When kids have a passion, they are going to learn. They're going to retain what we're trying to teach them academically.
A lot of what the Grand Center Arts Academy did was just teach me all the things that I can do in music, and how to be kind of an all-around musician, so I can kind of figure out exactly what I want to do from there.
Confluence Academies and the Grand Center Arts Academy. Discover your pathway at confluenceacademy.org.
I'm Mark Cantor. Here's why you can count on Cantor Injury Law.
My name is Michelle. I'm a litigation paralegal at Cantor Injury Law, and you can count on Cantor because we are smart, honest, and hardworking.
I'm Kevin Glenn, and a partner here at Cantor Injury Law. You can count on Cantor because we make your cause our cause.
No fee if no recovery. Please visit CantorInjuryLaw.com or call us at 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At Midland, we know sometimes all it takes is a moment for an idea to spark, or to make it happen, a moment to find your dream, or build one, a moment to start your forever, or at least start planning for it. Whatever moments you have, Midland is here for them and can help you make them. Midland, brighter together. Visit us at midlandsb.com. Midland States Bank is member FDIC.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply, stop to opt out.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country. When you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
Connect with a local divorce attorney today. Text LEGAL66 to 323232. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Hey, it's Julie Buck for our friends at Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution, and they've been in St. Louis for over 20 years with 2 locations, one at Clayton and Lindbergh, and the other one just west of 270 on Olive. If you've got your own business and you want to have a better banking experience, look no further than Triad Bank. Their mission is to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services to you and your business. For more, go to triadbanking.com.
Mama's on the Hill is the legendary birthplace of the Toasted Rav, and Mama's is the premier family restaurant on the Hill. Make a reservation online at mamasonthehill.com.
Most people think if I name my husband as beneficiary, everything's going to be okay, and that's not necessarily true.
I'm Scott Garcia with Premier Estate and Income Planning.
What am I doing taking care of people after somebody has passed and all the mess that comes with that?
And I'm Jennifer Cermak, Chief Counsel and Estate Planning Attorney of Premier Estate and Income Planning.
No longer is the attorney the gatekeeper to your lives.
Let us show you how to protect your assets, avoid probate, and retire with confidence.
Having an estate plan could be the most important document you could ever have.
The Premier Income and Estate Planning Show, this Saturday at 4 and this Sunday morning at 7 on the Big 550 KTRS.
Live from Studio 550, this is the McGraw Show on KTRS.
637 here from the Country Club Car Wash text line. California insurance is cheap because they don't offer any fire coverage at all. That's it's a lot cheaper when you don't cover natural disasters. Let's see here. Hey, McGraw, data centers can require incredible amounts of electricity and water, often more than the local system can handle. Suddenly, everyone's utilities go through the roof. Mostly that isn't discussed ahead of time, at least not publicly. Sure. If we get the data centers, it will help with things like moving. Oh, I read that one. Here's another one. Data centers paying taxes makes my tax freeze okay. Yes, it does. Makes it easier. So let's talk about this explosion that was in the news. Man, this thing is brutal. Up by Florissant Golf Club in Blackjack, an explosion yesterday about, 9 o'clock or so in the morning. They say it destroyed 3 houses, burned 2 others, and shook the neighborhood so hard that it bent garage doors, knocked down ceilings, blew out glass windows. 3 people were injured and taken to the hospital. It looks like nobody died. Rescue crews are still looking. According to our dear friend Jason Merrill from Spire said that they went out and turned off the gas and then did an investigation. And according to Jason, who's been on the show numerous times, he's saying that there was no gas leak.
And they said there were no 811, which is what you're supposed to call if you smell gas. They said there were no calls anytime in the recent weeks.
Yeah. So what would cause an explosion that big and that powerful? The first thing you think of is gas. And the gas company is saying, no, it wasn't us. Now, the gas company's pretty buttoned up. They're not going to, they're not going to say it's not us if there was, right, if there was still a hint. I mean, the fact that they're saying it's not us is pretty reasonable to suspect that it wasn't them, right? I mean, there's not like, well, we thought it was us, but we don't think it's us. Well, there was. I mean, they're saying categorically there wasn't a gas leak. Now, I don't know how they do that, but clearly these people are smarter than all of us. But what do you? I mean, what possibly could it have been if it wasn't a gas leak?
Are they offering up any
Any other ideas? No,
you can speculate.
I mean, my like a chemistry experiment of some type.
I mean, could it have been? I mean, do you think it was some type of rogue? I mean, your worst case scenario, right? You think of bomb, you think of an arson, you think of a meth lab exploding. I guess do meth labs explode like that? I don't.
That's
do
the
that.
first thing I thought.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the only thing I know that explodes like that.
I mean, I don't. I mean, it's you don't normal things just normally don't go boom like that. I don't know. I mean. It's amazing nobody was killed.
Right.
I guess 9:30. Most people are off at work somewhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, to
unless that is your work.
Well, I mean, to look at the aerial photos of the photo. I mean, it
looks like a bomb went off.
It looks. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that survived. I mean, the what do they call that? The bomb radius or the bomb blast or whatever it is.
The debris
right?
field.
Yeah.
And all that.
I mean,
yeah.
it's 3 houses just. Poof! Just disintegrated into dust. I mean, it's just debris everywhere. It's kind of disturbing. But watching the coverage yesterday, you look at it, you're like, wait, what happened? And then, I don't know. I'm sure they'll get to the bottom of it, but we'll wait and see what happens. But gas company says it wasn't gas. Bomb and arson people are taking over. We'll wait and see what happens. But
debris everywhere. It's like an explosion at a cheese factory.
6:42 here, Big 550 KTRS. Stay right there. We'll check in with Peter Harlambos. We'll also check in with Mike Dubusky a little bit later on, and then we're going to check in with Bob Ramsey. Wilson Contreras had a night last night out at the ballpark, and according to Brendan Weesey, the smallest crowd in the history of Busch Stadium 3.
Yes.
Some 17,000 announced attendance. I know a lot of people are, lamenting this, but I gotta tell you that I might be going to a couple of Cardinal games between now and the end of the year. The weather's nice. Nobody's there. You have your own personal hot dog vendor. This could be a great place to go check out a couple of games. Last night, the Cardinals beat the Pirates 7-6. I'm looking at the box score here. There was a total attendance of 17,675 people. That's paid. That's paid.
Tickets sold.
Tickets sold, yeah. Who came through the turnstile, that's a different story. But, with a couple games left, I mean, all right, the weather's nice. You don't have to fight the crowds.
Started early.
Get home early. That's the way to do it right there. 643 here, Big 550 KTRS. Let's talk appliance discounters, because if you need appliances, you need appliance discounters. Who are they? Longtime sponsor of the show. They're also the largest family-run appliance retailer in the region. Let me say that again. Appliance discounters. The largest family-run and family-operated local appliance retailer in the region. They use that power to buy in bulk. They have an 80,000 square foot warehouse filled with appliances, and then they pass all those savings on to you. They have a new grab-and-go store on Gravois, which is set up for you to take the appliance. Now, they've got dings and dents, some of them. They're all name brands. They're all brand new. They all come with a full factory warranty, but some of them might have a ding or a dent that they got in transport. And, usually it's in the top or in the back. They can't sell it as, pristine because it's got a ding in it. But you put it next to the wall and you never even see that side anyway. What's great about appliance discounters is they got all the name brands, one items direct from the manufacturer, closeout items, one of a kind, dings, and so they'll drop the price even more, thus giving you a better deal. TheApplianceDiscounters.com. If you are in the market for an appliance, you need to check out Appliance Discounters. 5 area locations, including their grab-and-go store in Afton. TheApplianceDiscounters.com. The Country Club Car Wash text line. It looked like they were playing in Pittsburgh. That's a funny line. 645, Captain Paul Kopsky, St. Louis Plaza Company Traffic Center.
McGraw northbound 55 is running slow and stop and go at times from Bayless to Weber. Northbound 70 is heavy from Manchester to 64. There's road construction on westbound 5570 between Illinois 111 and 203. And note that one eastbound lane and one westbound lane of 70 will be closed on the Musial Bridge from 9 o'clock this morning until 3 this afternoon for road work. This traffic report is brought to you by the Rack House in Cottleville. Stop by for brunch or happy hour, or have the Rack House cater your next event with box lunches or buffets to accommodate groups of 10 to 200 people. The Rack House, featuring a seasonal menu and upscale casual dining and drinks since 2014. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. WoodsBasementSystems.com.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Tuesday, high of 78 degrees, about 10 degrees below the normal high. Northeast winds at 5 to 10 and plenty of sunshine Tuesday. Wednesday, more cloud cover, partly, then eventually mostly cloudy, but another day with a high in the 70s, a high of around 79 for Wednesday. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton for the Big 550 KTRS.
You know what they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and windows and doors are usually that first impression when it comes to your home. Dalco Home Remodeling custom makes their windows and doors, and better yet, they make them here in Missouri. Dalco Home Remodeling is locally and family owned, celebrating 50 years, so they know a thing or two. The Dalco team is known for quality and customer satisfaction. That's the way it was 50 years ago when they started, and that's still true today. So if you're looking to change the look of your home without breaking the bank, call Dalco Home Remodeling. They do free in-home estimates. Just call 314-298-7300 and make an appointment. You can also check them out online at DalcoHomeRemodeling.com. As they've always said, if you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved at Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call Dalco first, 314-298-7300.
It's Josh Gilbert, and I'm here with Jeff Zufall, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group and author of the #1 best-selling book on the new tax law, Keep What's Yours. and my co-host every Saturday on Keep What's Yours. August is Financial Awareness Month, and if you own a business, your bookkeeper may be doing a great job with daily transactions, but what are you doing with that information? Jeff, how can some strategic tax planning decisions now reduce your tax liability at the end of the year?
Thanks, Josh. The short answer is a lot. Since 1976, thousands of businesses have relied upon the tax slashing strategies provided by Capital Advisory Group to help them keep more of what they earn, reduce their future tax liability, and stop overpaying their federal and state income taxes. If you're not taking full advantage of the new tax laws and you feel like you're paying more than your fair share in taxes, let my team and I help you implement tax strategies.
Give Capital Advisory Group a call at 636-394-5524 and online at capitaladvisorygrp.com.
JF Electric Company, Inc. seeks Assistant Project Manager, Edwardsville, Illinois, to manage electrical construction projects. Highly involved with the bid process, often contributing information and recommendations on the bid itself. Proactively assists PMs with managing electrical construction projects from winning the bid to completing the work. Helps establish project objectives and lays out the project plan in accordance with contract specifications. Identifies, applies for, obtains, and maintains all applicable permits as directed by PM. BS or equivalent in engineering or construction management. Ability with prior leadership role, adhere to a schedule and reliably show up for all scheduled shifts on time. Attention to detail, computer proficiency, Primavera or ability to learn Primavera within 90 days. Resumes to J. Foster, 200 Lakefront Parkway, Edwardsville, Illinois, 62025.
When it comes to mortgage lenders, I know you have no shortage of options. But are you working with someone local who can truly simplify the process? I'm David Goldberg with the Goldberg Group, and as a St. Louis home purchase expert, I know this market inside and out. I specialize in tough-to-complete situations for borrowers who are self-employed, looking to buy and sell at the same time, and may have been turned down somewhere else. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or seasoned homeowner, you can trust me with all of your home financing needs. Call or text me at 314-471-4030. 314-471-4030.
Inland Marine Boats in Barnhart has been serving your boating needs for 38 years. Hi, I'm Ryan at Inland Marine, your Mercury Marine dealer. Remember, you only get 18 summers with your kids. Make the most of them with a boat. InlandMarineBoats.com.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you. BishopsPost.com.
This is the McGraw Show on KTRS.
$6.50, Big 550, KTRS. I read with quite a bit of interest. We have a lot of farmers who listen to the show in Missouri and Illinois, lots of farmers. Soybeans are the number one grown crop here in Missouri. Soybeans, and soybeans have been under pressure over the last couple of years. And the American Soybean Association sent a letter to the President of the United States. I'll read you just parts of this letter. It says, Dear President Trump, U.S. soybean farmers are standing at a trade and financial precipice. As you and your team negotiate with China, we urge you to prioritize soybeans and reach a deal that includes the removal of China's retaliatory duties and, if possible, significant soybean purchase commitments. It goes on to say, we appreciate your recent Truth Social post acknowledging that the robust crop produced by the U.S. soybean farmers and urge China to quadruple soybean imports from the U.S. Unfortunately, for our soybean growers, China has contracted with Brazil to meet future months' needs to avoid purchasing any soybeans from the U.S. U.S. soybeans currently face a duty 20% higher than soybeans from South America due to Chinese retaliatory tariffs. That puts our farmers at an untimely competitive disadvantage. China has not purchased any U.S. soybeans for the months ahead as we quickly approach harvest. The further into autumn we get without reaching an agreement with China on soybeans, the worse the impacts will be on U.S. soybean farmers. Goes on to say, soybean farmers are under extreme financial stress. Prices continue to drop at the same time our farmers are paying significantly more for inputs and equipment. U.S. soybean farmers cannot survive a prolonged trade dispute with our largest customer. The American Soybean Association's Economics Department has compiled the attached white paper on the current state of U.S. trade soybeans. Mr. President, you have strongly supported farmers, and farmers have strongly supported you. We need your help. So the U.S. Soybean Association, the American Soybean Association, writing an open letter to Donald Trump saying, hey, guess what? We need some serious help. And soybeans, the number one crop grown here in Missouri, and China is going to South America for their soybeans. And this has been back in their teens. America's was the largest seller of soybeans to China. Now I think we're number 2 to Brazil, I believe, is now the second largest. So I'm certainly no expert when it comes to farms, but the farmers and the soybeans are hurting. And one of the people who's being hurt by this trade war are the farmers. And because America doesn't use as many soybeans as China does. And so the soybeans, China's getting their soybeans from cheaper places, which is what you do. Right? If you want to buy a big screen TV and the one place is selling it for $5, the other place is selling it for $10, where would you go get your big screen TV? You go and get it at the cheaper place, and that's sort of what China's doing. So we'll wait and see what happens with all that. But I thought it was quite interesting that the American Soybean Association of America writing a letter saying we are in dire need of help. And, the farming community doesn't get a lot of attention. There's not a lot of press, not a lot of news people, not a lot of newsrooms in the middle of rural America who understand the plight of the farmer. We do a farm show from 5 to 6. We try and sort of keep an eye on it. I do anyway, try and keep an eye on the farm economy because as the farm economy goes, so goes the rest of us here in the Midwest, and we don't really appreciate the plight of the farmer, what they go through on a daily basis, right? We all go to work. When you get paid, you go to work, and before somebody hires you, you say, how much are you going to pay me? And you agree on a price. A farmer puts a seed in the ground, has to pay for whatever the gas is, whatever the tractor is, whatever the fertilizer is, whatever the water might be, hope it grows, and then when they bring it to market, instead of the farmer telling you how much they're going to pay for it or sell it for, the market tells the farmer how much they're going to sell it for. So when you make a widget at work and you sell it, you tell the customer how much it's going to be. Right? When they make an iPhone, you don't go to the iPhone store and say, "Oh, I'll give you $40 for it." The Apple tells you how much they're going to sell the iPhone for. But with a bushel of soybeans, the market tells you. And sometimes the farmer has no say, and sometimes the farmer puts in and loses money on that bushel. So it's a difficult life as a farmer, but interesting nonetheless. All right, 6:57 here, Big 550 KTRS. Captain Paul Kopsky, St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Good morning.
Good morning, McGraw. Northbound 55 is running slow from Union all the way to Weber. Northbound 270 is heavy from Manchester to 64. Westbound 6455 is crowded coming in from Illinois to the Poplar Street Bridge. And one lane of 109 will be closed at Clayton Road in a couple minutes from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. today for road work. This traffic report is brought to you by Neighbors Credit Union. If you're ready to upsize, downsize, or first-time home buy, turn to the team at Neighbors Credit Union. At Neighbors Credit Union, you'll find great rates, expert advice, and personalized friendly service throughout the entire home loan process and beyond. That's just what you'd expect from a great neighbor. Apply online today at neighborscu.org. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, weather-wise, for the next couple of days, gorgeous. Hope you're getting out and enjoying it. High of 78 today with plenty of sunshine, very few clouds along the way. Overnight tonight, low of 55. Tomorrow and through the rest of the week, we are in the upper 70s, low 80s, maybe right there at 80, 81. All sun, few clouds, no rain anywhere in the forecast. 53 degrees down at the Arch here at the Big 550 KTRS. From the Country Club Car Wash text line, do they give out the number of turnstiles rather than tickets sold? No, they do not. They give out the number of tickets sold. Let's see here. What's another one? All right, let's talk about Miller Furniture, Mueller, Miller Furniture, or MillerFurniture.com. What's great about Mark Miller is great family man. He's in charge of the family business that has been selling furniture for 98 years. He's a great businessman, a very good friend, and a very average baseball player. But the point is, you're not hiring him to pitch for the Cardinals. You're hiring him to make sure you get your furniture delivered on time. At Miller Furniture, they have American-made quality. Have you seen the Stickley collection in Fairview Heights? Oh, it is magnificent. It is, it's beautiful furniture, if I dare I say. They've got American-made stuff. All the stuff is good. I bought a couch there, a sectional, put it in the basement. She beats on that couch all day long, still looks as good as the day it was purchased. Why? Because Miller Furniture sells quality stuff, and when you get something from China and you put it together with an Allen wrench and it's delivered in a box at your front door, it doesn't really stand the test of time. Might look good for a day or two, but it doesn't work like that. Miller Furniture is where you go to get the good stuff, the stuff that lasts. They have their Labor Day sale going on right now through the month of September. Great financing deals, 60 months, same as cash financing, 4 locations, Lake St. Louis out at the Meadows, Fairview Heights in Illinois, Ellisville on Manchester Road, and in Belleville. Miller Furniture or MillerFurniture.com.
Mizzou football.
It's a rushing touchdown, and Missouri extends the lead.
KTRS AM, FM 1061, K291CW St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. A massive dust storm slamming Phoenix.
Couldn't see anything in front of you. It just got really dark. It felt like I was from an apocalypse or The Walking Dead.
The problems stretched from the airport to the power grid in Phoenix. ABC's Sam Champion with more.
Drivers hit with monsoon rain and winds of up to 70 miles an hour as the dust storm, often referred to as a haboob, rolled in, plunging the city into zero visibility. The airport damaged, its roof leaking. Over 300 flights delayed.
In Washington, President Trump now moving in on one of the few remaining independent bodies left in government, the board that decides on the nation's monetary policy. Here's ABC senior political correspondent Rachel Scott.
President Trump taking an extraordinary step against the nation's central bank, saying he's firing Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors, the first time a president has ever attempted to fire a Fed governor. The president does have the authority to fire a Fed governor for cause, but it's not clear the president's justification will be enough. And the Federal Reserve is an independent agency.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says his state will sue if President Trump tries to bring in the National Guard to Chicago like he has in Washington, D.C. in the name of fighting crime. Drug maker Eli Lilly announcing its weight loss medication comes as a pill instead of an injection.
Lilly says their diabetes once-a-day pill, orforglipron, leads to weight loss of 23 pounds or 11% of body weight on average for people living with both obesity and type 2 diabetes who took the highest dose over 17 months. This follows recent data published earlier this month showing an average weight loss of 27 pounds or 12.4% of body weight for people with obesity.
ABC's Chuck Severson. Elon Musk is suing Apple and ChatGPT parent company OpenAI, accusing them of putting their AI platform above others. This is ABC News.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale, up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed, plus free premium delivery with any smart bed and adjustable base. Ends Labor Day. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Did you recently change jobs? Don't forget about your old 401k. Leaving it behind could mean missed growth, unnecessary fees, or tax headaches down the road. Should you leave it where it is, roll it into a new plan, cash it out, or even move it to an IRA? Each option has long-term consequences. At Pioneer Wealth Management, we help you make smart decisions about your retirement savings. Visit PioneerWealthMGMT.com to schedule your personalized retirement review.
Investment advisory services offered through Creative One Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Creative One Wealth and Pioneer Wealth Management are not affiliated companies. Licensed insurance professionals. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal.
Has pleaded guilty to federal drug trafficking charges.
El Maya will spend the rest of his life behind bars. He will die in a U.S. federal prison where he belongs.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says Ismael Zambada, also known as El Mayo, admitted in court to directing people under his control to kill others to further the interest of his drug organization. His sentence, life behind bars. One of the executive orders that President Trump signed on Monday strikes down cashless bail.
The president signing orders aimed at ending cashless bail.
We're starting by ending it in D.C.
Focusing on not only D.C., but potentially anywhere that has a cashless bail policy, withholding federal funds from those areas. The NAACP slamming the move, saying it's about consolidating power and keeping poor people in jail to maximize the profits of private prisons.
ABC's Lana Moise. If your kids are back in school already, chances are you might have had a little trouble getting them into and out of bed.
We really have to reset the circadian rhythm. It's so important that we do this gradually and not abruptly.
Pediatrician Dr. Alea Wegman says if your kids have not started yet, you might want to slowly introduce them to an earlier bedtime and an earlier wake-up time, 15 minutes earlier for bedtime, 15 minutes earlier for wake-up, and gradually adjust that to align with your school's start time. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Truck drivers, have you been searching for a more reliable driving job? Get the paychecks and predictability you need as a Schneider driver. Schneider's large selection of driving jobs means you can get the home time that suits your schedule. Choose from daily, weekly, monthly, or sometime in between. Plus, Schneider drivers have access to great benefits with a 401k match and a 24/7 support team. Get the keys to a better driving job. Search openings near you and apply now at schneiderjobs.com.
55 degrees at 7:05. Here's what's happening now. A house explosion in North County is to blame for injuring 5 people and damaging 20 homes. This happened yesterday morning along the 13,000 block of Evan Air Drive in an unincorporated St. Louis County. One of the victims, an 18-year-old man, remains in critical condition. 5 of the homes impacted by the explosion were destroyed. The cause of the explosion is still being investigated. Meanwhile, St. Angelo Merici in Florissant is serving as a shelter for those impacted. Today is the deadline to apply for FEMA individual assistance for St. Louis City and St. Louis County residents affected by the May 16th tornado. The fastest way to apply for individual assistance is online at disasterassistance.gov or by calling FEMA at 1-800-621-3362. The St. Louis Teachers Union says they have no confidence in SLPS Superintendent Millicent Borshade. A petition signed by over 2/3 of union members was presented to District Board President Karen Collins Adams on Monday. Union President Ray Cummings said members no longer have confidence in Borshade following the proposal to close more than half of the schools in the district. The petition comes just 1 week into the school year. A Cole County judge has denied a temporary restraining order in a school choice case. The Missouri National Education Association had sought the restraining order against House Bill 12. The legislation would give more than $51 million to the Missouri Empowerment Scholarship Accounts Program for families to use on private school tuition. Flying soon, some new items have been banned by the TSA. KTRS's Sobe Bay reports.
If you're gearing up for Labor Day travel, you might want to double-check what's allowed in your bag. The Transportation Security Administration recently expanded their list of banned items to include 3 new items related to hair care. No longer allowed are cordless curling irons or flat irons containing gas cartridges, butane-filled curling irons or flat irons, and gas spare cartridges for curling irons or flat irons. Traditional hair tools that plug into an outlet are still allowed in both checked and carry-on bags. Changes are happening at the TSA. Last month, the security agency removed a long-standing shoes-off policy and even opened the possibility of increasing the amount of liquids allowed on carry-on baggage. Until then, the limit remains at 3.4 fluid ounces. Sobe Bay, KTRS News.
No progress was made as Boeing and the International Association of Machinists resumed contract talks yesterday. Both sides met for a few hours amid the 3-week strike. No new talks have been scheduled. This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, a place for all your floral needs. You can place your order anytime at WKF.com. 55 degrees. Time now is 7:07. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News.
All right, Rose Dalton, we're going to check in with Peter Harlambous here in just a minute. Kilmore Abrego Garcia is being held, and the judge is saying that, hold on a second, you can't deport this guy again. We'll get the latest with Peter here in a couple minutes. And then Mike DeBussey's got his tech segment. Bob Ramsey's going to talk about the Cards game last night. 3 people were there to see it, but boy, was it fun. It was like a game of romper room. I saw Sally, I saw Bob, I saw Joey.
It was a beautiful night, though.
It was gorgeous. I would have sat. I would have sat and watched the game. Who watch a little baseball game? Peanuts, popcorn. A little kosher dog from Stuart's Stand. That's the way to do it. Bob Ramsey will join us in an hour. Antonio French. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, stay right there. This data center is getting a lot of attention. Dan Borgmeyer, the mayor of St. Charles, is going to be joining us in the 9 o'clock hour to answer questions. He under quite a bit of siege because it came out that a cousin of his owns the land that the data center was going to be put on, and a lot of people are calling foul. Dan Borgmeyer is going to join us in the 9 o'clock hour for all of that. There's actually, let's do this. This didn't get any news. Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper, I'm a Diet Coke guy, but when there's not Diet Coke, my second choice is
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Diet Dr. Pepper. It's not Pepsi. It's owned by its own entity.
Correct.
And Keurig.
Yeah, Keurig Dr. Pepper is its own entity. So when you have Pepsi, oftentimes you have Diet Dr. Pepper in the same rack.
And 7-Up.
And 7-Up, yeah. So it's interesting. Anyway, Keurig Dr. Pepper said yesterday that it's going to acquire Peet's Coffee for $18 billion and then break up the company. They're going to make soft drinks one company and then coffee the other company. Dr. Pepper, the second most popular soda in the U.S. behind Coca-Cola. I would have thought it was Pepsi.
Yeah, me too.
But Coca-Cola number 1, Dr. Pepper number 2. I wonder where Mr. Pibb is and all that. It's kind of the same thing.
It's not.
7:10 here, Big 550 KTRS. Peter Harlambous joins us. Kimar Abrego Garcia. Peter, the poor guy, is the epicenter of this entire undocumented worker deportation story. The guy was let out of jail. Now they're going to try and deport him again?
That's exactly right. I mean, this is, at this point, a 7-month saga, beginning when he was deported to El Salvador, brought back to the United States to face criminal charges, and now either facing a choice: get sent to Uganda, where he doesn't have any family, across an ocean, or if he pleads guilty, they'll send him to Costa Rica. His lawyers are arguing against this. They're trying to actually stand trial here in New York. For now, he has a judge temporarily ordering that he stay here in the United States, though the Trump administration is insistent that he's not going to stay here for long.
So go back a second. He was originally arrested. How did they bring him back to the country and then release him? What was the ruling there?
Yeah, that's where it got really tricky, because if you remember, the Supreme Court even ordered that he be brought back to the United States from El Salvador, and the Trump administration refused to let that happen. They basically said it was impossible, that they don't actually have custody of all those people that they sent to El Salvador. But out of a complete surprise, earlier this summer, he arrived one day, sent to Tennessee to face criminal charges over human smuggling allegations. He's pleaded not guilty in that case, but I guess it's a bit of an apparent contradiction in the Trump administration's stance here. They've insisted for, at this point, months, that the people that they sent to El Salvador back in March cannot be brought back to the United States. But in the case of this super high-profile individual, Comar Garcia, who they say is a bad person, a human smuggler, they've said that he's a domestic abuser, a child smuggler even, they have kind of changed their abilities here to bring him back to U.S. soil. They originally said he was going to stand trial here, though that now appears to change. And now he's basically, it appears like he's getting forced to take a guilty plea if he wants to avoid being sent to Uganda.
In a normal world, wouldn't they bring him up on charges and then try him and then get him convicted in a United States court?
That's exactly right. I mean, and that's where the contradiction is here in terms of, I guess, what the Department of Justice is intending here, right? If you're bringing someone back to the United States, if you're charging them with a federal crime and saying that we're going to bring justice to his victims, allegedly, part of that includes kind of going through the process, including bringing this to trial and getting a conviction. If they're so confident that this person is a criminal, they surely have evidence to prove it at trial. But instead, there's this change of tact where now he's basically being forced to take a guilty plea under duress, being sent to a country he's never been to, where he has no family, across an ocean. So again, I'm not saying this is a sympathetic person. I'm not saying this person's a saint. But at the same time, he seems to be individually targeted by the Trump administration in a way that we have not seen with any other migrant who's been subject to deportation.
Is he in this country with undocumented? Is he undocumented? Is he not in this country legally?
That's where it gets tricky. So he does have the Trump administration technically has the legal authority to deport him, but the only legal condition, and this was signed off by a federal judge years ago, is that they cannot deport him to El Salvador. So because of that, even though he has an order of removal, that kind of order preventing his deportation to El Salvador has kind of kept him in somewhat good graces with the government. It's prevented his deportation because really there's nowhere else to send him. The thing that has changed, though, is the Trump administration has embraced this new tactic of sending migrants to countries that aren't their place of origin. Sending people to El Salvador, for example, sending people to Djibouti, which we saw a few months ago. And Uganda is kind of the latest example of this. They're a country that signed an agreement with the United States earlier this week, basically allowing them to accept migrants from the United States. And that has kind of given the Trump administration a new tool in their toolkit here in terms of what to do with this guy, because they can't send him back to his home country. But technically, they do have the authority, if they get through this federal judge who's blocking the deportation for now, to send him to Africa.
How are they making the choice? We'll send you to Uganda, but if you plead guilty, we'll send you to Costa Rica. How is that? What's the legal rationaling behind all of that?
I wish I could say that there was more of a rationale, but unfortunately, it seems to be more circumstance and what's available. So in this case, it appears, according to Kilmar Garcia's lawyers, that Costa Rica would accept him as a refugee. So they'd offer him some protections. And this is a country that's not too far away from his family. He kind of has a chance of rebuilding a life there. Uganda, on the other hand, seems to be a somewhat arbitrary choice. Yes, there's an agreement with the United States that allows the transfer of him to that country. But what appears to be the Trump administration's tactic here is using this as a bit of a deterrent. Basically, if you're a person in the country illegally, you're now seeing actions like this. You're seeing people kind of kept in the Everglades at Alligator Alcatraz. You're seeing people shipped off to CICOT in El Salvador or countries they've never heard of in Africa. And that in and of itself, according to multiple immigration lawyers I've spoken to, kind of has had a very effective deterrent effect. I spoke to a lawyer who runs an immigration clinic out in California. She told me that half of the cases she's now handling are remigration cases, where people basically want to get out of this country on their own terms, before they get picked up by ICE, before they get sent to a situation like an allegedly inhumane facility here in the United States or a country they've never heard of.
Yeah, I would think so. He's married and he has children. Is his wife an American citizen or his children American citizens?
His wife and children are. They were there in support of him yesterday when he reported to an immigration check-in. This was just hours before he was actually detained by immigration officials. This is, I guess, part of the argument they've been making. This is someone who has his family here. One of his children is disabled on top of that, and he basically is the sole income earner for his family. So the question is, if you send him to Uganda, what happens to his family of U.S. citizens? The Trump administration, though, has kind of pushed back on those claims by highlighting the fact that the couple themselves have had issues with domestic violence in the past, with Camar Borrego Garcia being the aggressor in those cases. And they're basically saying that he's a domestic abuser. He doesn't deserve to be here in the United States.
Peter Harlamboos, ABC News. Very convoluted story. Thanks for breaking it down for us. Have a good day.
Thanks so much for having me.
717, Big 550, KTRS. Captain Paul Kopsky, St. Louis Plaza Company Traffic Center. Good morning.
Good morning, McGraw. An accident on eastbound 64 at Timberlake Manor is blocking the left and right lanes, with the two center lanes getting through. Traffic is jammed back to Chesterfield Parkway, exit 19. Eastbound 64 bogs down at 170. Northbound 55 is running slow at Bayless, where it's stop and go at times. It remains heavy to Weber. Northbound 270 is heavy from Doherty Ferry to 64. Westbound 6455 is a little crowded coming in from Illinois to the Poplar Street Bridge. And there's a stalled tractor trailer on the shoulder of northbound 55 south of Route M in Peevely. This traffic report is brought to you by Dents Express. If the severe storms have you saying, oh, hail, bring your car, truck, SUV, or van to Dents Express for a free hail damage repair evaluation. Dents Express will have your ride looking like new again, and they'll even take care of the insurance paperwork. That's Dents Express at dentsexpressstl.com. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
6 iconic names, 2 bobbleheads, 1 unforgettable night. Join us Friday, September 5th as the Cardinals face off with the Giants and celebrate the 1985 National League Championship. That night, 20,000 fans 16 and older will take home one of 2 1985 triple bobbleheads, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Deerbirds. Whether it's the legendary Coleman, McGee, and Smith, or the iconic Tudor, Cox, and Andujar, you won't want to miss your chance to get this unique triple bobblehead. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions.
Head to the stadium on Saturday, September 6th, when the Birds host the Giants. 20,000 fans, 16 and older, will score a limited edition Hall of Fame baseball card shirt, thanks to Edward Jones. This all-over print shirt features McGee, Forsch, Tudor, Coleman, the Wizard, Whitey, and her. It's a giveaway you won't want to miss. That's Saturday, September 6th. Get tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Willie McGee, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. woodsbasementsystems.com.
Boy, if you're a fan of fall weather, you have got to be eating this up. I expect highs in the 70s again today. This is the 3rd day in a row. A ridge of high pressure sitting right on top of us, which will keep our skies mainly sunny today. Up to 78 for the high this afternoon. And then we drop back into the 60s this evening. Just gorgeous, clear and cool tonight. A low, again, almost chilly at 56. Just a hint warmer tomorrow, up to 81 for the high Wednesday, but humidity remains very low. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers for the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, let's talk about Gelmish & Sons because... All right, your air conditioner is officially off because, well, it's gorgeous outside, right? Open the windows up, you're fine. But at Gelmish & Sons, now's the time. Now that they can take a breath because of that brutal heat wave this summer, now's the time to get your furnace checked for the winter. You don't want to have them come out in the middle of December or January when it's freezing cold and you're huddling in the corner burning your furniture for firewood because the furnace isn't working. At Gelmish & Sons, they've been around for 75 years, so they've been dealing with St. Louis summers and St. Louis winters. Now's the time to call Gelmish & Sons and have them come out and do a once-over to make sure everything is good to go. See how much damage was done to the air conditioner, and then get the furnace ready for the fall. 314-993-1110. Now, the chances of anybody doing that are slim to none. I understand it because we're all... it's fine, right? We all don't call until the furnace goes out. So when the furnace goes out, remember the name Gelmish & Sons, 314-993-1110, or online at gelmishandsons.com.
Are you ready for some football? Mizzou football on the Big 550 KTRS is powered by Graybar.
High snap, good place, kick is up, and it is good.
This Thursday, Mizzou kicks off the season against Central Arkansas at 6:30 p.m. Pre-game begins at 4:30 p.m.
Catch all the action right here on the Big 550.
KTRS.
Presented by Graybar.
For all your electrical and datacom solutions. Mizzou plays here.
Feeling sluggish or just not quite yourself? It might be time to optimize your hormones. Heidi here for Premier U, the experts in helping men and women feel their absolute best. Premier U specializes in personalized hormone optimization to boost energy, improve mental clarity, and enhance overall wellness. Take charge of your health today. Visit premierumed.com and discover how hormone optimization can transform your life. 2 locations on both sides of the river with telemed options. Premier U, where better health begins.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you. bishopspost.com.
Scott, remember when the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Pile were flying around the arch selling flooring?
Andrea, that was the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Tile.
Oh, that's right. But we don't need shtick here at Best Buy Flooring.
That's right, because our in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile are already at low, low prices.
Come see us at our 3 area locations, North County, South County, and Metro East. Open 7 days a week.
Plus, free financing on approved credit. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy Flooring.
Hey, it's John Carney. A lot of conversations with the folks over at Allen Roofing, pretty much asking advice, because I know a lot of people got smacked by that storm, and he had some great advice for people to think about. First off, be careful of who you talk to when you're going to get some work done. Make sure there's an agreement, and the scope of work is laid out in that contract. Also, as you can imagine, a lot of contractors are busy. Give them some time, and you know what? Allen Roofing will come put a tarp on your roof at no charge, even if you don't use them when you get the roof repaired. Also, check the Better Business Bureau, see what the reviews are for contractors that you deal with, and also remember, insurance companies allow up to an entire year from the date of loss to file a claim. So you've got time to get those repairs done and that replacement done. Don't rush it. Just a few tips from the people that know roofing and repairs better than anyone. It's Allen Roofing, online at aroofing.net.
Meet me at the Village Bar. Ready for the world's best cheeseburger, homemade onion rings, trashed wings? It's the Village Bar for food and sports. Cards, Blues, Mizzou, NFL. The game's always on. Open 7 days a week in De Pere. Grab your friends, grab a cold beer. We'll see you at the Village Bar.
McGraw, live in the morning on KTRS.
$7:24 here, Big 550 KTRS. Anybody watch on CNN that it was Saturday night? It was 2 parts. I don't know. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched quite a bit of it. A documentary or docuseries or special on John F. Kennedy Jr.
I did not.
It was pretty good. It was a lot of commercials. I mean, he just started getting into it, and boom, it was another commercial, and it was. But the part I saw was. When they were looking at his magazine, George, that John F. Kennedy Jr. Was a publisher for this magazine, George, and the controversy that surrounded it, and it was kind of interesting. I'd forgotten most of that.
Wasn't Cindy Crawford dressed up as George Washington?
She was on the cover of the very first one. He asked Madonna to dress up as Jackie Kennedy. And she said, "I'm not going to dress up as your mom, as your old girlfriend. That's a little creepy to be dressing up as your mom. I ain't going to do that." He went down to Cuba and wanted to interview Fidel Castro about the Bay of Pigs, which was kind of interesting. He sat and talked with George Wallace. Right, he was the man who stood outside of the University of Alabama, not allowing African-American kids into, and his dad, John F. Kennedy Jr.'s dad, forced the National Guard in. Right? I mean, it was really interesting stuff. But was one of the things that sort of caught my attention there was one where he I forget who he was wanting to meet with, and he said, "Whatever you do, don't talk. I don't want you to talk about my dad's assassination." And somebody brought up the assassination, and he killed the story because he didn't want to talk about his dad's assassination. But every step of the way, do you know who was standing right next to John F. Kennedy Jr. as part of his financial team to get George up and running and going?
I can guess.
David Packer. Now, who is David Packer? David Packer is the guy who went on to run the National Enquirer, who was then all part of the impeachment trials with Donald Trump because he was the one pushing all the all the Hillary stories to make Donald Trump look good. So David Packer was as thick as thieves with John F. Kennedy Jr. trying to get George off the deck, and years later, he single-handedly helps Donald Trump get into the White House by running a negative campaign against Hillary Clinton.
This just proves your theory even more. Because if there was no Hillary Clinton,
that's exactly right. Yeah. No. Yeah, that's a good point. Right. David Packer, the catch and kill. Mm-hmm. Right. We've got this story about Donald Trump and a adult film star. Let's pay her and kill it, right? Let's buy it, pay it off, and kill it, and not run it. And then he was brought up on all the right. Remember, he testified at all these trials, David Packer and everything else. So David Packer was besties with John F. Kennedy Jr. and then years later was besties with Donald Trump.
He would have done the same thing for JFK Jr. if there were any negative stories.
I'm just saying it was, it's just interesting how these people just keep resurfacing. Right? I mean, it's just they're like cockroaches. They just keep coming back, and they're the guy's setting up a magazine. This guy's got this one. I mean, how these people just keep resurfacing, I have no idea. But
what year did he? Was it 96?
So it was midnight. When he died?
The plane crash, yeah.
Oh, that was 99.
So it wasn't other.
That was the summer. Okay. That was the summer of 99, okay. if memory serves me right.
July 16th.
Yeah. But the George, the magazine, was 1996. And matter of fact, Josh was rummaging through a box, found one, and showed it to me the other day.
Who was on the cover?
I don't think it was the first one, because the first one's got to be worth something.
Yeah.
But it was weird looking through a magazine.
Yeah.
Because you were like, whoa, I remember, I loved magazines.
Did it have perfume samples?
I loved everything about magazines. Magazines were great.
This is classy.
They were great.
They were magazines. I loved magazines. I loved myself a good magazine. Time, Newsweek.
Did you have subscriptions?
Entertainment Weekly.
I had when I was a kid. I had a subscription to Sports Illustrated, and it came every Thursday, and that was heaven, absolute heaven. And I would devour it. It came in the mail, and I was just They were afraid I wasn't reading enough. So somebody somewhere said, "Well, he likes sports. Get him Sports Illustrated. At least he'll be reading." Aww. And they were like, "Oh, that's a good idea." Mm-hmm. So they got me Sports Illustrated, and I cover to cover, everything. I read everything from cover to cover.
Were you allowed to have the swimsuit issue when you were a kid? Did that same thing? That came out the same thing, right?
Yeah. Well,
once a month or when?
No. It was once a year.
Oh.
Yeah. I never got the people who, and then they would always have every year. They'd have a letter to the editor, and it'd be some mom in some far-off place. "I got this for my son to read about sports. What's these naked ladies doing on the cover? Cancel my subscription."
And they ran it.
Yeah.
Did you have one of those phones, too, for Christmas? Like the football phone and all that?
Yeah, I never.
Do you remember that?
That would have been for whoever bought it for
right,
them.
and and then you get the gift. Like, hey, I got this football phone for you. Thanks to Sports Illustrated.
The windbreaker,
yes,
and a phone, and to this, and 52 weeks of the greatest sports coverage out there.
How soon did they put it to bed? Like, how late? Because you got it on Friday. Did they put it together like on Tuesday, or how late were the stories?
It's a great
or did you not care?
Yeah, no. Well, it wasn't so much of like Sporting News here in town.
Mm-hmm. You got that quicker.
Well, Sporting News was once a week, but they would put in the week's box scores. So you could go and look at the Cardinals box score from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right, or whatever. Sports Illustrated.
More articles.
It was more feature-y stuff. So it was more like
non-topical, evergreen.
It wasn't like, hey, the Raiders beat the Chargers last Tuesday. But it was more feature-y stuff. It was like, let's dive into Al Davis. Let's dive into this one. Let's talk about this. And they would do interesting sports, and not just they do cycling and rock climbing. And there was one where they did about the Bonsai Pipeline in Hawaii. It was just really interesting stories about interesting people. And yes, it was somehow loosely tied to sports. And yeah, they did the World Series and whatever else, but it was more feature-y stuff. Not so much as the immediacy of who won last night's game.
And the website now can be immediate. Do you still go to SI.com?
I would no, because I don't really know what it is now. I don't know if it's a weird sort of. I like the Atlantic, which is now purchased by the New York Times, but again, not so much feature-y stuff. That's more immediate and X's and O's and what happened last night and what's going to happen tomorrow, but not so much the feature-y stuff, which is what I always like. But whatever. But anyway, long way to go to say I miss my magazines. I miss a good magazine. I miss a good
Mad magazine.
I miss a good profile in a magazine from somebody, right? Where the author would meet at a cool restaurant and they would say, I showed up early and they showed up with the flip-flops and a cigarette and their mom dropped them off.
I forgot about that.
Right? And you're like, oh, they just give you a little insight into what the lunch was like.
Coffee shop.
Yeah. Check that. 7:33 here. St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Here's Captain Paul.
McGraw, an accident on eastbound 64 at Timberlake Manor is blocking the left and right lanes, with the center two lanes getting through. Traffic is jammed back to Boone's Crossing, and the estimated clearance time is 7:50. Eastbound 64 bogs down a little bit at 170. Northbound 55 is running slow from Union to Bayless with speeds less than 20 miles per hour. Northbound 270 is heavy from 44 to 64. The worst of it is from Big Bend to Manchester. Westbound 6455 is a little crowded coming in from Illinois to the Poplar Street Bridge. And there's a stalled tractor trailer on the shoulder of northbound 55 south of Route M in Peevely. This traffic report is brought to you by Fielder Electric. See what everyone is saying about the pros at Fielder Electric. Whether it's a new build or a 100-year-old home, Fielder Electric has you covered. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Country Club Car Wash text line, I had every edition of George magazine in my high school history classroom. The students loved finding the George Washington hidden somewhere on the front cover. Here's another one. Oliver Stone was going to make the movie, and JFK Jr. said no way and walked away. It was Oliver Stone who wanted to talk about the assassination, and he said no. I still get TV Guide. Great bathroom reading. Is there still a TV Guide out there?
In large print.
Wow. Hey, McGraw, SI is back. Get another subscription. 7:35 here. Weather-wise, next couple of days, gorgeous. As gorgeous as my co-host, Rose Dalton. 78 and sunny. 81 and sunny, and 81 and sunny on Thursday. So that's the look at the rest of the week. 60 right now at 7:36. Let's go back to the newsroom. Here's Rose Dalton.
Protesters in Israel have torched tires and blocked highways to demand a ceasefire to free hostages in Gaza. This comes as Israeli leaders push for an offensive against Hamas. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is accusing Iran of directing at least 2 anti-Semitic attacks in Australia and says the country is cutting off diplomatic relations in response. Albanese says that Australian intelligence services has connected Iran to arson attacks on a Sydney restaurant and a Melbourne synagogue. In local headlines, Ameren, Missouri customers who typically qualify for energy assistance may now be eligible to receive up to $1,400 in bill payment assistance across various programs. This follows Ameren's $4 million donation to community action agencies last week. More information is available online at amerenmissouri.com/energy assistance. And the Missouri Council on Aging is encouraging Missourians to review and comment on the draft Master Plan on Aging. Missourians Aging with Dignity. The Master Plan lays out a 10-year roadmap for ensuring all Missourians can age safely, with dignity, and in the community of their choice. Comments may be submitted through September 15th on the Missouri Council on Aging's website. 55 degrees. Time now is 7:37. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News.
I was working in my yard the other day, and my neighbor pulls up, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Just got done with one of your sponsors. He's going to have Outdoor Living build his deck." I said, "Good choice. Pat Leahy will take care of you." I said, they use metal framing. He says, "I know. That's the only thing they use." And so that's what they're going to do. They're going to get a metal deck with composite decking, and they're thrilled. And they went and called Pat Leahy over there at Outdoor Living. So here's the deal. Whether you're my neighbor or not, you want somebody to build you a deck that is going to last a long time. And the wood today just does not stand up to the heat and the humidity and the baking of what it has to stand up to during the summer months. That's why a couple of years ago, Pat Leahy went straight to metal framing. He still has truckloads and truckloads of U.S.-made steel that he has in the warehouse ready to go. So when you're ready to build your deck, Outdoor Living is where you go. It doesn't bow, it doesn't warp, it doesn't rot. You don't need to stain it. You don't need to worry about it. You'll enjoy it the rest of your life. So what I would recommend is what my neighbor did. Go check out the showroom, Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood. You can see it from the road there, right across from the Quick Trip there on South Holmes Road. Go in and see for yourself. Go in and talk to somebody. Then they'll come do a site visit, figure out what's the best way to align the deck and situate the deck, and then get you in the queue and get you going. Outdoor Living, whether it's decks, fences, gazebos, pergolas, anything outdoor, hence the name Outdoor Living. 314-966-3325. And yes, just like my neighbor, drop my name. It should help you most of the time. 314-966-3325. Check out the showroom, OutdoorLivingInc.com.
It's time to celebrate summer the Southern Illinois way at the DeCoin State Fair from August 22nd through Labor Day. Enjoy thrilling rides, toe-tapping concerts, sizzling fair food, and good old-fashioned fun for the whole family. Catch professional wrestling, blue ribbon bake-offs, and meet your favorite farm animals. Whether you're here for the car show or corn dogs, DeCoin's got the magic. So pack up the family. Adventure awaits at the DeCoin State Fair.
You know what they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and windows and doors are usually that first impression when it comes to your home. Dalco Home Remodeling custom makes their windows and doors, and better yet, they make them here in Missouri. Dalco Home Remodeling is locally and family owned, celebrating 50 years, so they know a thing or two. The Dalco team is known for quality and customer satisfaction. That's the way it was 50 years ago when they started, and that's still true today. So if you're looking to change the look of your home without breaking the bank, call Dalco Home Remodeling. They do free in-home estimates. Just call 314-298-7300 and make an appointment. You can also check them out online at DalcoHomeRemodeling.com. As they've always said, if you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved at Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call Dalco first, 314-298-7300.
You're finally ready to renovate your home. Riverbend Kitchen and More is your BBB accredited project partner that is attentive and responsive to your vision from concept to completion. Riverbend specializes in kitchens and baths, but also bars, bookcases, cabinetry, countertops, and more. They work with homeowners, contractors, and developers. Proud supplier of Waypoint Living Spaces cabinets, as well as other quality cabinetry lines. Financing is available, conveniently located in Soulard, Alton, and Mascoutah. Call 314-314-7411. Online at riverbendkm.com.
At Midland, we know sometimes all it takes is a moment for an idea to spark, or to make it happen, a moment to find your dream, or build one, a moment to start your forever, or at least start planning for it. Whatever moments you have, Midland is here for them and can help you make them. Midland, brighter together. Visit us at midlandsb.com. Midland States Bank is member FDIC.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply, stop to opt out.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country. When you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
Connect with a local divorce attorney today. Text LEGAL66 to 323232. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
McGraw Millhaven on KTRS. $7:42 here at Big 550 KTRS. Coming up, we're checking in with Mike Dubusky. Bob Ramsey going to talk a little Cardinals. Antonio French going to join us at 8:20. Ben Barnett's going to talk some trees. And then Dan Borgmeyer, St. Charles Mayor, is going to be joining us at 9 o'clock. This is, well, I'm. It's one of those. It's one. Anyway.
What?
Nothing. Here you go. Back to the text line from the Country Club Car Wash text line. The Sporting News would also publish each team's season stats, to which a 10-year-old MLB fanatic in 1970 was printed gold. I love me some Sporting News. It was, man, you would devour that thing and look at the box scores and the. It was a statistician's dream. I mean, it was great. Still get TV Guide, great bathroom reading. I read the point after in Sports Illustrated first, and then went to the front of the magazine.
Is that Rick Riley?
Rick Riley was towards the end. He was the last page. And I ended up I met Rick Riley a couple times and became friendlier with him. I loved Rick Riley. That when he wrote the last word or whatever in Sports Illustrated, that last page, that was so good. It was worth the price of the whole magazine. It was great. But they had On the Record or the Scorecard, or I read the whole thing cover to cover. It was great. Let's see here. Does Mr. Pibb own Coke?
Coke owns Mr. Pibb.
Coke owns Mr. Pibb.
It's their Dr. Pepper knockoff.
Is one better than the other, or they both taste exactly this? I haven't had Mr. Pibb in a while.
I never see Mr. Pibb. I see Pibb Extra, which is like their
Pibb on steroids,
more caffeinated version.
Yeah. What is Dr. Pepper? What is that flavor?
Cherry.
It's 7, isn't it? Isn't that the whole?
It's 23 flavors.
23 flavors.
But it's cherry.
It is? That's cherry?
It's cherry with 22 other flavors. Because that's what the 23 is on the cover.
So if you you go to a restaurant and they offer you have the choice of Diet Coke and Diet Dr. Pepper. You always go with Diet Coke.
I'll go with Diet Coke.
Even if Diet Dr. Pepper is an option.
If I'll say Diet Coke, they say we have Pepsi. I'll say, do you have Diet Dr. Pepper? And they say yes. Or at this point they say, we don't have Coke. Would you like a Diet Dr. Pepper? Because clearly everybody who likes Diet Coke,
that's their
second choice is Diet Dr. Pepper.
Now, if they only have Diet Pepsi, will you just be like water? Or will you suffer and
I'll
choke
muddle
it down?
through a Diet Pepsi. I mean, Pepsi's okay. I'll tell you what, Pepsi Zero is not bad. Pepsi Zero is, it's
Diet Wild Cherry Pepsi.
And for years I liked Pepsi. It's not that I was going through the supermarket the other day. There was an RC Cola I almost bought just for just for old school's sake.
Is that the diet one? What's the one that's always Tab?
A Tab.
Oh, Tab
I think they finally stopped making Tab relatively recently.
RC Light.
What is RC Cola?
RC
It's just
Cola
a brand
it's another
just
cola.
A brand of
it's
cola.
another cola, yeah.
Cola.
The joke was as soon as you opened the RC 2-liter bottle, it was flat.
Done.
RC Cola, yeah, that was old school. 746 here. Here's Captain Paul Kopsky. You remember RC Cola, don't you there, Captain Paul?
I sure do. Royal Crown.
Royal Crown, yeah, absolutely. St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Here's Captain Paul.
McGraw, an accident on eastbound 64 at Timberlake Manor is now blocking the 2 right lanes only. Traffic is jammed back to Boone's Crossing. Eastbound 70 is slow coming off the Blanchette Bridge to 270. Eastbound 64 bogs down at 170. Westbound 64 is busy in front of Forest Park. Northbound 55 is running slow and stop and go at times from Union to Weber. Northbound 270 is heavy from 55 to 64. The worst of it is from 44 to Doherty Ferry. Westbound 64-55 is a little crowded coming in from Illinois to the Poplar Street Bridge. And there's a stalled tractor trailer on the shoulder of northbound 55 south of Route M in Peevely. This traffic report is brought to you by Neighbors Credit Union. If you're ready to upsize, downsize, or first-time home buy, turn to the team at Neighbors Credit Union. At Neighbors Credit Union, you'll find great rates, expert advice, and personalized friendly service throughout the entire home loan process and beyond. That's just what you'd expect from a great neighbor. Apply online today at neighborscu.org. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. WoodsBasementSystems.com.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Tuesday, high of 78 degrees, about 10 degrees below the normal high. Northeast winds at 5 to 10 and plenty of sunshine Tuesday. Wednesday, more cloud cover, partly, then eventually mostly cloudy, but another day with a high in the 70s, a high of around 79 for Wednesday. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton for the Big 550 KTRS.
Dr. Pepper was first commercially available in 1885. So you could actually get flowers from Walter Knoll, go to Lacey Lumber and get some lumber, and have a Dr. Pepper. It preceded Coke by 1 year. Dr. Pepper was introduced nationally at the 1904 World's Fair here in St. Louis. It was formulated by a Brooklyn-born pharmacist in Waco, Texas. To test the new drink, he first offered it to a store owner, Wade Morrison, who found it to his liking. Patrons at Morrison's soda fountain soon learned of the new drink and began ordering a Waco. They called it Dr. Pepper for whatever reason. Yeah. Early advertisements of the soft drink made medical claims stating that it aids digestion and restores vim, vinegar, and vitality. Well, I can test to that. So there you go. 750 here, Big 550 KTRS. Country Club Car Wash is where you go to get your car cleaned. Country Club Car Wash. Be careful. Make sure it says country. Because if it doesn't say country, it's not Country Club. And if it's not country, you might be confused with a company that is getting some bad press here and there. Do not be confused. Make sure it says country. If it doesn't say country, it ain't local. 5 area locations. They're all attached to Mobile on the Runs. They're better car washes at Country Club Car Wash. They're longer. They're on a conveyor belt, most of them. They've got longer sprays and longer drying times. And when you're finished, you just the outside or the inside and outside or any combination, Country Club will take care of you. And I would recommend buying the monthly pass. Pay for it once. Unlimited car washes all year long. As the fall starts to approach and the leaves start to fall and there's dust and all that stuff, get your car cleaned every day if you want to with the monthly pass. Make sure it says country, because if it doesn't say Country Club, it ain't Country Club Car Wash. CCCWSTL.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset. Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a banner day.
Stay connected with the Big 550 KTRS, streaming 24/7 online at KTRS.com or on the KTRS app. Powered by JBL Financial. Stream Straight Talk on Retirement every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. This is The McGraw Show on KTRS.
$7:52 here, Big 550 KTRS. Mike Dubusky joins us back in his normal slot as tech guru. What is Elon Musk complaining about?
Well, he's lodging a lawsuit complaining that Apple and OpenAI are conspiring to suppress his AI company, xAI, in the marketplace. And on Monday, he lodged this lawsuit against both OpenAI and Apple. Apple and OpenAI have a partnership. Some background here. Some of OpenAI's models are built into Apple Intelligence, which is kind of their umbrella term for all their AI efforts. And that comes standard on a lot of new Apple products, including the iPhone. xAI in this lawsuit, McGraw says that this is an anti-competitive practice. And we know from the wide variety of antitrust lawsuits that we've discussed in the past that have come out of Silicon Valley, all of this comes back to whether the companies in play are giving people enough choices. xAI argues that by forging this partnership, by baking in OpenAI's chatbot into the iOS operating system, right, at the system level, that's denying people the ability to make choices about what kind of chatbot they want to use. Basically, if a chatbot is pre-installed on a device, the moment you take it out of the box, there's very little incentive for people to go download a different one. They say, and this is a direct quote from the lawsuit, this conduct prevents ChatGPT's rivals, such as Grok, from fairly competing with ChatGPT, and that customers have less choice and receive generative AI chatbots with fewer features and capabilities than they otherwise would have in a competitive marketplace. They're also making this separate argument that Apple is manipulating the App Store so they can preference OpenAI's products over others, namely Grok, and now they are asking this judge in Texas to undo this anti-competitive scheme, that's what they call it, and to recover billions of dollars in damages.
Is this frivolous, or has this got some merit to it, or do we know yet?
It's a great question, right? This is not the first lawsuit that Elon Musk has lodged against OpenAI. Of course, Elon Musk co-founded OpenAI against St. Louis's own Sam Altman. Back in 2015, they launched that as a nonprofit. Recently, up until recently, I should say, they were trying to convert this business from a nonprofit business into a for-profit enterprise. Elon Musk saw that as a breach of contract and launched a lawsuit. It was dismissed and then refiled, and now they're trying to not be a for-profit business anymore. It's very complicated, but the bottom line is that these two guys know each other and they don't seem to like each other very much. So that has caused some speculation, just saying maybe that Elon Musk is kind of just being a thorn in OpenAI's side here. And OpenAI's comment on this does seem to reflect that. They say that this latest filing is consistent with Mr. Musk's ongoing pattern of harassment. Apple, for its part, told Bloomberg earlier this month that in the App Store, at least, it's designed to be fair and free of bias when asked about Musk's claims.
Now, with all this being said, AI, wasn't it Sam Altman who sort of floated the idea that we're in some AI bubble right now?
Yeah, I mean, he was part of the cause of this recent discourse about whether we're in an AI bubble or not. He sat down with a group of reporters a few weeks ago and said, are we in a phase where investors as a whole are overexcited about AI? My opinion is yes. And Wall Street reacted to that. Of course, the rest of that quote is AI the most important thing to happen in a very long time? My opinion is also yes. Of course, he would say something to that effect. But it was kind of just one of several news stories that got investors jittery about the AI space. Recently, MIT put out a report that found that 95% of the AI pilot programs that companies have deployed have failed to deliver any financial savings or uplift in profits. That's, again, against the backdrop of DeepSeek earlier this year coming to the fore and doing basically, a runaround on all the American models for a fraction of the cost. Large language models at the end of the day are really expensive to build, really expensive to train and really expensive to run. And so far, none of these big AI companies have made a profit. A lot of investors, it seems right now, are questioning when we're going to see a little bit of return on that investment. Tomorrow is going to be really interesting because that's when NVIDIA is set to release its second quarter earnings. This is the company that makes the computer chips that underpin a lot of these AI models. They're often looked to as a bellwether for the larger industry.
You know, we've talked about this. I've seen some AI-generated funny videos on social media. I've seen some funny pictures that have been created by friends and family and people who've put on social media. But in terms of making a profit or something, they keep saying that you can create an app within seconds with this stuff. I'm with Wall Street. I haven't seen anybody make any money off this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think the coding thing is kind of its own separate conversation, really, because generative AI has been deployed in coding for many years now, and there's like very specific, very technical applications there. But in terms of like everyday people like you and me, I do think there's like some real questions about its use. This is a big word calculator, essentially, right? It's designed to accurately predict kind of a response to a query, sort of like a really, really advanced autocorrect, but none of these consumer-facing sort of products, the ChatGPTs of the world, have been able to solve the hallucination problem, which effectively means they've made a calculator that is right charitably like 70-80% of the time, which means that it's a calculator that is functionally wrong 100% of the time because I can't trust it.
Yeah.
And I think that, maybe there are some edge cases, some applications, again, like coding, where that's okay. But I think for everyday consumers, there's some real questions as to the use of most of these models.
Yeah, stay tuned. All right, that's Mike Dubusky. Mike, good to have you on, as always. Have a good day. Thanks.
You too. Take care.
758 St. Louis Plaza Company Traffic Center. Here is Captain Paul.
McGraw, an accident on eastbound 64 at Timberlake Manor is now blocking the right lane only. Traffic is bumper to bumper, though, all the way back to Long. Eastbound 70 is slow coming off the Blanchette Bridge to 270. Eastbound 64 bogs down from east of Clayton Road to Big Bend. Westbound 64 is busy in front of Forest Park. Northbound 55 running slow and stop and go at times from Union to Weber. Northbound 270 is heavy from 55 to 64. The worst of it is from Tesson Ferry to Gravois and from 44 to Manchester. And westbound 6455 is crowded coming in from Illinois to the Poplar Street Bridge. From the KTRS St. Louis Plaza Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, Captain Paul, real quick, that Highway 40 accident, did you say it was cleared by Timberlake?
No, it's still active, and it's blocking the right lane, but traffic is bumper to bumper back to Long. So there's a pretty long backup.
Yeah, all of the Chesterfield Valley is all backed up, headed into headed up the hill. That's all backed up.
Yeah, there's a big backup out there for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know where, if you can sort of get off and take the back road some way if you can, but I mean, that thing is going to be a nightmare. Any idea how long that accident's going to last?
Well, they've passed the estimated clearance time, so I'll have to check to see if they've come out with a new time for clearance.
Yeah, there's a lot of curse words right there in Chesterfield Valley all about right now, so hang tight. All right, thanks, Captain Paul.
Sure.
All right. The good news is that it's going to be a nice day all day today. High of 78 with plenty of sunshine. 60 degrees right now. It's 8 o'clock. KTRS St. Louis.
Mizzou football.
The rushing touchdown, and Missouri extends the lead.
KTRS AM, FM 106.1, K291CW St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. President Trump moves to assert control over one of the few remaining independent bodies in Washington. He says he is firing Federal Reserve Board Governor Lisa Cook to be replaced by a governor of his choosing. Thing is, though, Cook says she won't leave. Here's ABC national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
Lisa Cook was a controversial choice for the Fed when she was nominated by then-President Biden. Vice President Kamala Harris had to cast a tie-breaking vote in the Senate to initially confirm her. Cook says President Trump has no cause to fire her, and she says she'll continue carrying out her duties. Her attorney suggests she'll sue. President Trump cites allegations that Cook filed mortgage applications on 2 properties in 2021 before she joined the Fed, claiming that each was her primary residence.
Cook is the first black woman to serve as a Fed governor, and her 14-year term isn't due to expire until 2038. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says the state will sue if President Trump follows through on plans to send the National Guard to patrol Chicago like he has Washington. Among Pritzker's concerns,
our National Guard are extraordinarily well trained. They are trained to go to war, and they have done so admirably on behalf of the United States and the people of Illinois abroad. But they're not trained to go into American cities and police them.
He says he is concerned people will want to protest and that the Guard will create turmoil where there is none. Across Israel, protests pushing for an end to the war. ABC's James Longman.
Families of the hostages in Gaza are holding a day of action across Israel today. Protesters are blocking major roads and burning tires. They're angry at Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who they feel is stalling on a ceasefire and hostage release deal. And they're calling on President Trump to intervene.
Eli Lilly is hoping to get approval for its diabetes and weight loss drug that comes in a pill form rather than an injection like GLP-1s. You're listening to ABC News.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Have some fun with your friends while eating great food. Of course, I'm talking about the Village Bar, the only place to watch the big game while eating the world's best cheeseburger. There's a reason people have made this their favorite hangout for decades. The game's on, and so is the grill. We'll see you at the Village Bar.
The Big 550.
KTRS St. Louis.
Behind bars, but still in the U.S. for now. The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador, then brought back, then sent to Tennessee, and is now still facing deportation.
Kilmer Abrego Garcia again fighting for his freedom and against deportation. This time potentially to Uganda, 7,000 miles away on a different continent. Abrego Garcia immediately arrested and placed in ICE custody following a rally on his behalf on Monday.
ABC Chief Law and Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas. A towering wall of dust blocking out the sun. Drivers in Phoenix facing winds of up to 70 miles an hour. Lori Jo Yacht grateful she wasn't one of them.
It goes up thousands of feet and it rolls and it's fast. It comes. I'm glad we weren't out in vehicles in that because that could be very scary.
The Haboob, as it's known, plunged Phoenix into near zero visibility and halted flights at one of the busiest airports in the country. Justice Department releasing new audio of the Ghislaine Maxwell interview.
In the interview, Maxwell, who was serving 20 years for sex trafficking, proclaimed her innocence, insisted she didn't witness any inappropriate behavior by any of Epstein's powerful friends. Maxwell was also asked about President Trump, who had a decade-long friendship with Epstein before their falling out. But she also contradicted Trump's claim former President Bill Clinton went to Epstein's private island 20 times.
ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Whether you're on your way to see the Tigers or coming back home from the game, be sure to plan a side trip to Overstock Outlet, the best random store around where new inventory from the major big box stores arrives daily. You never know what great deals you'll find, and it's right on your way. 2 locations, in Lake St. Louis at Highway N and Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and in Warrenton at Highway 47 and Highway M. Open every day from 10 until 5. Find them on Facebook at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis, or check out their weekly online auctions at OverstockOutletAuctions.com. Let's go Tigers!
58 degrees at 8:05. Here's what's happening now. The investigation continues into a North County house explosion, which injured 5 people and damaged 20 homes. This happened yesterday morning along the 13,000 block of Evan Air Drive in unincorporated St. Louis County. One of the victims, an 18-year-old man, suffered life-threatening injuries. There's no word on what may have caused the explosion. The American Red Cross has stepped in to help the impacted residents. Mayor Kara Spencer signed an executive order aimed at removing barriers that can slow down the process of rebuilding and repairing property. The scope of this order includes neighborhoods impacted by the May 16th tornado. The city is also beginning work on a major overhaul of its zoning code and a thorough effort to remove barriers across the city. Among the ways this executive order relieves regulatory barriers is by extending the period of validity for conditional use permits previously granted and encouraging the extension of building permits in case it takes longer than 6 months to begin construction. Missouri is closing a loophole that allowed minors to get married. The story from KTRS's Sobe Bay.
For years, the minimum age to get married in Missouri was 15. Then it was raised to 16 years old in 2018. Teens had to get permission from at least one parent, and their spouse had to be under 21. That all changes this week. On August 28th, anyone getting married in Missouri must be at least 18. Missouri joins 15 other states in eliminating underage marriage. The bill faced minimal opposition in the Missouri legislature. Sobe Bay, KTRS News.
Layoffs are underway at Edward Jones. Employees began receiving layoff notices yesterday as the company moves forward with its workforce reduction, which was announced back in March. The layoffs impact Edward Jones associates across the United States and Canada, including at the company's headquarters in Des Peres. This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. 58 degrees. Time now is 8:06. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
You know him as the voice of Billikens basketball. It's time for sports with Bob Ramsey on the McGraw Show, powered by Balding Electric on the Big 550 KTRS.
8:07 here, Big 550 KTRS. How come we don't have a little intro music for Bob Ramsey? We got intro music for everybody else.
We just played it.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not as big. Sorry,
What are
Bob.
you reading?
Sorry, Bob. You got a little short thrift on the walk-up music. I apologize.
I can play it again.
No, it's just wasn't as.
It's 12 seconds long.
Cusimano and Randy get a whole big orchestra. You just get a little stinger, I guess. Anyway, good morning, Bob Ramsey.
They're the big guys. Good morning, everyone.
Did you win that bet on the Little League World Series or no?
Sorry?
Bet? Yeah. Did you win that bet on the Little League World Series or no?
I do. I'm not going to name names, but as you know, Josh is a degenerate gambler. That's one thing he didn't bet on. We talk about that stuff all the time, and there'll be soccer games on in the middle of the afternoon. Oh, I got a little bit on this one. It's crazy. But no, not the Little League World Series. Even degenerate gamblers have limits.
Funny you mention that because he may or may not have bet on like a ping pong game in like Bangladesh at one point.
Yeah, I think he won big on that.
Yeah, crazy stuff. All right, let's talk. Let's talk college football and Mizzou. What are you looking at for your Mizzou Tigers this year?
Well, I think the early drama is still going to be around quarterback, and I haven't heard a lot of people covering the game, and even fans having favorites. I know a lot of people, not a lot. I have had some conversation with folks who are kind of like me. You kind of like the known versus the unknown, and can Horn take over eventually? But I think on Thursday night, they'll probably try and base it on what they see. But what's funny is what happens if they both play great or they both play bad. Still, what do? You don't know that you're going to get an answer on Thursday night. But I think probably somebody will have a little better game. And sometimes I would want to caution people. It's not like if Fabiola was 5 out of 6 throwing and Horn was 6 out of 7. Well, Horn was better.
Yeah.
Who's running the game the way they want it run? Who's just making some decisions better? Who seems to be more in control and leading? Now, if there's some dramatic differences in numbers, that could be enough to make a decision. But I think that's one of the things that'll be interesting to see and watch and kind of play with the not only Thursday night, but the first few games, I think. Is this the guy we want to lead the way to having a great season, again, 10-plus wins or more?
I think the biggest thing you have to worry about is the locker room, right? If the locker room gets split, then you really got troubles. Who cares about the callers into the call-in sports show, right? It's the locker room, and if the locker room gets divided, then that's the trouble.
Yeah, and with Sam being there longer, that I think that could be a focus. But there's no indications that Drink has a team that's not following him and following that winning is what it's all about and that sort of thing. I've never heard any indications on that. But yeah, if there is a problem, if you make a decision for reasons other than achievement, then yeah, you could run into some problems, but I wouldn't anticipate that.
Yeah, first game Thursday night here on the Big 550 KTRS. 17,000 out at Busch Stadium last night, the smallest crowd ever recorded in the, soon-to-be 20-year history of Busch Stadium 3.
I went to a game in the spring that there were far less than that, but they don't do the turnstile anymore. They just do tickets sold,
right?
And that's and so. The game I went to, there couldn't have been more than 12,000. But the real issue is this is pretty documented. Nobody can deny they've got some real issues in attendance, where the team's going. Are you giving your fans, with tickets always going up, are you giving them a fair shake? It's sort of an unwritten contract. Certainly in St. Louis, we expect the club to give it its best shot. And when you're using terms like runway to disguise the fact that you don't know who to play and who's going to be good and who's not going to be good and all those sorts of things, you're not bringing in enough talent to help you compete at the highest level, then you've, in my view, you've kind of broken the unspoken contract with the fans.
So you were here before in the old regime under the Bush.
I've been here before there was baseball.
Yes.
No.
So when Lewis and Clark were going to the games,
nobody wore gloves. They had to,
But back in the 90s, before the DeWitts took over, when the team wasn't doing so well. I mean, right? You would have. Come September, late August, they were out of it. You'd only have a small number of people going to the games.
I think it would depend, and I'd have to go back and do some research to be accurate. But it was a disgruntled fan base, and I think a little more vocal. Now, what's more vocal? Calling into talk shows or grumbling in the ballpark or staying away from the ballpark. And I think that's the thing why this is a little bit different, because folks are saying it's too much. If you're not going to give us a fair shake, we're going to spend our money in other ways or save it completely. And I think that it actually becomes a bigger problem than people being angry. Apathy is absolutely worse.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely different than it was 30 years ago, right? Young boys, right? They'd rather sit in front of the computer and play video games or watch soccer from, Indonesia, or bet on, Little League games in Pennsylvania. It's a different world. And to get off the couch and go spend $100 to go to a game, that's a harder sell than it was 30 years ago.
Well, and I think you're talking about not just the Cardinals, but the bigger picture of having a younger fan base and keep it growing. And it's something that, baseball has battled for a long time. But locally anyway, you can fix it. The evidence is there. And no longer the so-called B-fibs, the best fans in baseball, they're demanding a little more. They're just not going to show up because you open the gate. They expect more for their money, and they expect more for their loyalty. And I think it's going to be a real challenge on and off the field this winter for Chaim Bloom, the new head of baseball operations. He's got a lot of work to do. But I think he would tell you, and I think even fans would agree.
Yeah.
Give us a fair shake on the field, and we'll let the marketing stuff take care of itself.
With that being said, St. Louis City, man, these guys can't lose any worse than they've been losing. Now they just fired their general manager.
Yeah, Fanish Steele, hit the ground running when he came in. When we remember back when that first season when things opened up great, and we all sort of admitted at the time, but didn't want to make a big deal out of it, that they were winning some games they probably shouldn't have won. But so what? You got the win. You were aggressive, attacking, scoring goals. Again, you got some breaks, but it sort of got the ball rolling. And then as the season wore on, City was playing very well. Then it kind of hit the wall, and the league started to figure out how to play against that style. And it's sort of been downhill since, and we're starting to get to the bottom of the hill this season. And they had to figure something out, and so it looks like it'll be starting over. I was talking with sports director Brendan Weesey last night, and we were talking about, do you, as an organization, do you still believe in that style, attack, or do you come back with a more traditional, sporting director and say, this is not sustainable because we just don't have the players to do that. To compete, we've got to change the way we play. That's going to be the interesting thing to watch moving forward.
Yeah, I've never seen, I don't follow it that closely, but it seems like every time I look up, they've lost the game 3-2, 2-1, giving up 2 goals with 3 minutes left in the game, and even after the game ends, they're still giving up goals.
Yeah, especially late. That was the galling thing. Not that they had a bunch of those games that would have turned their record around, but scattered throughout the schedule, a game where you're ahead 1-0, 2-1, and then there's the late goal that's just a backbreaker. And that was a problem too. But I think again, not having not that the players aren't talented, but the kind of talent to play the style they wanted versus do you adapt your style of play to the players you have? And that is something that is really any organization in any professional sport. You got to figure that out. And you got to have the talent, and they just don't right now.
Yeah, well, it didn't help that they fired their coach, and the coach goes on this year to take Philadelphia, and is going to win Coach of the Year. So some bad missteps the last couple of years, I guess.
Well, that's exactly right. And making those kinds of decisions, not just we're not playing well, the coach is out.
Yeah.
Why are you not playing well? And that proved it wasn't the coach.
That's a classic radio move, right? Fire the morning guy, and then the morning guy gets a national job 3 days later.
Are you hearing anything?
No. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, right? That's this guy can't coach. He fires the guy, and then he goes on to win Coach of the Year. It's Cardinals fired Joe Torre, and he goes on to lead the Yankees to their greatest run ever. So
become a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah. All right, Bob Ramsey, you have yourself a good day. You keep Josh and Heidi in check in the afternoons, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks, man.
Thanks, buddy. See you.
818, Big 550, KTR St. Louis. From the Country Club Car Wash text line, hey, McGraw, can you explain how the changes at Cracker Barrel became political? No, I can't explain it. St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, here is Captain Paul Kopsky.
McGraw, we do have some good news. They've cleared that crash on eastbound 64 at Timberlake Manor, but traffic is still congested back to Long. It is thinning out, though. There's a crash on westbound 64 at Spady. It's blocking the 2 right lanes with traffic backed up to McKnight. Eastbound 70 is congested from 94 to 270. Eastbound 64 bogs down around 170. Westbound 64 is busy in front of Forest Park. Northbound 55 is running slow and stop and go at times from Union to Weber. Northbound 270 is heavy from 55 to 64. The worst of it is from Tesson Ferry to Gravois and from 44 to 64. And westbound 6455 is crowded coming in from Illinois to the Poplar Street Bridge. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. WoodsBasementSystems.com.
Boy, if you're a fan of fall weather, you have got to be eating this up. I expect highs in the 70s again today. This is the 3rd day in a row A ridge of high pressure sitting right on top of us, which will keep our skies mainly sunny today. Up to 78 for the high this afternoon. And then we drop back into the 60s this evening. Just gorgeous, clear and cool tonight. A low, again, almost chilly at 56. Just a hint warmer tomorrow, up to 81 for the high Wednesday, but humidity remains very low. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers for the Big 550 KTRS.
St. Mary's High School's got a great story. 3 years ago, the Archdiocese pulled their support, said, sorry, this is we just can't. Sorry, it's too many issues. We can't. And so the plan was for St. Mary's to go away. And that would have been heartbreaking. But something amazing happened. The very powerful, very influential alumni and the people who supported St. Mary's said, this is too important to let it fail. So they survived. They survived. And now, 3.5 years later, St. Mary's is thriving. Not only is their class size going up, right? More and more people are rediscovering St. Mary's and sending their kids there. But they just announced that they're buying the building and the ground, which would have been unheard of 3 years ago. That is the power of St. Mary's High School. It's an all-boys, independent, Catholic high school on Grand in South City. It's been there a long time. And they've created a whole lot of millionaires and a couple of billionaires along the way. Today, they're teaching the skills and the values that are needed for the 21st century. They're teaming up with businesses and unions to teach hands-on training inside the classroom, a mixture of science, technology, engineering, and math, as well as labor and 21st century computer and high-tech skill. All of those things are needed to thrive in a 21st century economy, and they're doing it at St. Mary's. And they're doing it so well, people are noticing and sending their kids there because those are going to be the skills that are needed for the 21st century. Would you like your young man to learn the skills to change the world? stmaryshs.com to find out more. stmaryshs.com.
It's time to celebrate summer the Southern Illinois way at the DuQuoin State Fair from August 22nd through Labor Day. Enjoy thrilling rides, toe-tapping concerts, sizzling fair food, and good old-fashioned fun for the whole family. Catch professional wrestling, blue ribbon bake-offs, and meet your favorite farm animals. Whether you're here for the car show or corn dogs, DuQuoin's got the magic. So pack up the family. Adventure awaits at the DuQuoin State Fair.
Hi, it's JJ from Spectrum Eyeglass Repair, the nation's leader in eyeglass repair. Is there a broken pair of sunglasses you thought were doomed to stay in the glove box? Are your glasses taped together, glued together? Bring them to Spectrum. We'll fix them. Spectrum Eyeglass Repair carries a large selection of pre-made clip-ons, cases, and accessories. We can custom make clip-ons to fit your frames. You'll like our service, and you'll love our prices, almost as much as you'll love our song. We're in Crestwood on Watson Road, and on the web at SpectrumEyeglassRepair.com. Now let's hear that groovy song one more time. Sing along with me. Spectrum Eyeglass Repair.
Flashback to 1985 when the hair was big, the colors were bright, and the Cards were the National League champs. Don't miss 80s night at Busch Stadium on Friday, September 5th. With a special themed ticket, fans will take home a throwback 1985 National League champs crew neck sweatshirt. Plus, jam out to your favorite 80s hits at a pregame concert by Decade of Decadence. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/theme.
This is Willie McGee, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
Hola amigos, this is Polo Asensio, Spanish broadcaster for your Cardenales, inviting you to Fiesta Cardenales presented by State Farm on September 7th. With a theme ticket, fans will take home a lightweight Cardenales hooded pullover. Don't miss a special heritage celebration in Budweiser Terrace before the game. A portion of each ticket sold will benefit the Hispanic Education, Cultural, and Scholarship Foundation. For tickets or details, visit cardinals.com/fiesta.
If you're looking for your next home, think of First Community. Our Smart Choice Home Loan offers a 30-year fixed rate of just 6.781% APR to qualified borrowers. And you only need a down payment of 10%. Whether it's your first home, your forever home, or even a vacation home, be smart with a Smart Choice loan from First Community for all your savings and all your loans. Must qualify for membership. For terms and conditions, call toll-free 1-888-642-7969. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, I'd like to let this play a little bit, but we got business to do. Antonio French, St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist. Good morning, Antonio.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, we haven't had a chance to talk about. We talked about Andrew Bailey getting the kick to Washington D.C., but Governor Mike Keogh announcing that he's going to pick Catherine Hanaway. I don't want to call it an odd pick, bit of an old school pick, right? She's old school Republican. She's not part of the MAGA movement. What do we think about this?
Yeah, her name had been floated around, and we discussed a little bit last week. But, I think it's a good pick for the state of Missouri. She has not been part of that kind of crazy right-wing MAGA thing. She is an accomplished attorney. She, was a good legislator, Speaker of the House. She's respected in a lot of circles. I've served on several panels with her, had a lot of conversations with her over the years. I hope she doesn't make that flip, that we've seen previous folks make who, you and I both know, Eric Schmidt back in the day was kind of a moderate, not as nutty as he is now. So not having to run that statewide election and being appointed, maybe Catherine Hanaway can stay in the middle and just do the job and not have to, put politics first like her predecessors have.
It's been a bit of a performance job the last couple of go-arounds, right? Josh Hawley was there for a short time, propelled himself to the Senate. Then Eric Schmidt was appointed, right? He did his song and dance. He was there a short time. He got propelled. Andrew Bailey got picked. He did his song and dance routine, and he got picked up. So, for the last couple of years, the Attorney General's role has sort of been a performance artist at its finest.
That's right. The last three Attorney Generals in Missouri have just kind of used that office to, get themselves in the press, to gain favor with, President Trump, to get on his radar for support and appointments. And so I think Catherine Hanaway might be someone, I hope, who just is there to do the job. She does not seem to be a show horse, more of a workhorse. And it is time that Missouri had somebody who just did the job of Attorney General, which is tough in of itself, So, without all the added politics, and if you actually do want to be the top law enforcement officer for the state, you do need to get the support of not just Republicans, not just the core base, but also Democrats. A lot of the things that go on in the state of Missouri happen in St. Louis and Kansas City area, so you need to have a working relationship with those Democratic leaders and putting politics above everything else, and especially these kind of made up politically motivated lawsuits from the Attorney General's office don't help that.
Yeah. Can you explain why Kara Spencer's changing her chief of staff and some of these other changes she's making so early in her mayor's run?
Yeah, she is making a lot of changes. I think that's a good thing. It is good to be flexible. I tell you, one of the biggest hurdles for anybody who takes that office is trying to find the hundreds of people that you need to fill these positions who are competent, capable, on the same page, ethical, and that's a tough job. And it's like in any staffing position right now, it's tough to find good people and keep good people. There's a lot of turnover. And so it seems like right now she's, making some changes. I think we can just judge her by the results. How she gets there is up to her business, and the team she gets there with is going to be tough for her to find that good team. And I don't think she's going to do it in the first year. So I expect more changes to come.
All right. Hey, speaking of Missouri and Missouri politics, right? Texas is now redistricting. A lot of people are saying that Missouri's next. I'm not so sure. I'm starting to hear some rumors and some rumblings that the Republican Party, maybe even Mike Keogh, doesn't want to open up this can of worms. Kansas City be complaining that they would cut up Kansas City into a different couple of districts. I'm not so sure this Missouri is the next step for this redistricting idea.
Well, I hope you're right. Opening up this can of worms, might not get the result that they think they're going to get. But it definitely adds to the general, just kind of apathy of the average voter and your average citizen. Just like, what are we doing here? Like, we just openly cheating now? Like, we're not even pretending anymore? This is completely about getting your side more seats. I understand Republican frustrations. They have a good case that in a lot of states they are underrepresented. Democrats can say that too about a handful of states. But we have a process, and I think we should stick to it. That Texas does it, and then California does it, and we're going to have other states do it. And so we're just going to have constant redistricting. I don't think that's a solution to anything. In fact, it's creating a bigger problem.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, there was talk, in 2020 that they were going to go to a 7-1 map here in Missouri. For whatever reason, the political whims of the day made it 6-2 with a Democratic district here on the St. Louis side and a Democratic district on the Kansas City side. But what's interesting is if you go 7-1, you make it harder for Republicans to win the district. And so in some ways, Republicans don't want to have right? Ann Wagner doesn't want to have a tough reelection every 2 years. And so by going 7-1, you're just making Ann Wagner work hard. And I'm not so sure some of these Republicans want to work as hard for their seats.
Yeah, that is true. And, how you draw it up is really going to determine, like, the politics of that local district. And if you're adding in, if you're dissolving Democrats by putting them into Republican districts as a minority, you're right. Eventually, with the right candidate, they might be able to get a moderate who would knock off that incumbent Republican. And I think the incumbent Republicans know that. So, again, I think you might just want to let sleeping dogs lie. And maybe in a state like California or a state like Texas where they have so many districts that, splitting them up doesn't have that big effect on a big proportion of the Republican incumbents. But in Missouri, we only have a handful of seats to start with. So you can only chop it up so many different ways before you're going to make a problem.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. All right, Antonio French, St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist. On Thursday, we'll talk about this data center. For some reason, people are all up in arms over. We'll save that for Thursday. Antonio, have a good week. Thanks for checking in.
You too. Have a good one.
You got it. Antonio French every Tuesday and Thursday. 9 o'clock today. Coming up in about a half hour, we're going to check in with Dan Borgmeyer, who is the mayor of St. Charles, who's right in the middle of that data center controversy. Who knew? We'll check in with him top of the hour. 8:33, let's check in with Captain Paul Kopsky. Been a bad day on the roads in the St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center.
It has been busy, McGraw, and the latest is an accident on westbound 270 at the Graham-Hanley exit with traffic backed up to West Florissant. Eastbound 64 is still jammed from Long to Timberlake Manor after an earlier crash. There's a crash on westbound 64 at Spady, blocking the right lane with traffic jammed back to 170. Eastbound 70 is congested from 5th Street to 270 in St. Charles. Eastbound 64 bogs down around 170. Westbound 64 is busy in front of Forest Park. Northbound 55 running slow and stop and go at times from Union to Weber. And northbound 270 is heavy from Tesson Ferry all the way to 64. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Weather is going to be quite nice for the next couple of days. High of 78, plenty of sunshine, no rain or clouds in the forecast. Tomorrow, more of the same, though, we'll inch up to the the low 80s, I should say. Also low 80s on Friday, and that's going to be the pattern through the weekend. No rain, low 80s with plenty of sunshine. Right now it's 61 degrees at 8:35. Let's go back to the newsroom. Here's Rose Dalton.
Pakistan has evacuated tens of thousands of people to safer areas after neighboring India released water from overflowing dams and swollen rivers into low-lying border regions. The move came a day after New Delhi alerted Islamabad about possible cross-border flooding, marking the first public diplomatic contact between the two nuclear-armed rivals in months. President Donald Trump says he's firing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, a sharp escalation in his battle to exert greater control over what has long been considered an institution independent from day-to-day politics. Trump said in a letter posted Monday on his Truth Social platform that he is removing Cook because of allegations that she committed mortgage fraud. In local headlines, today is the deadline to apply for FEMA individual assistance for St. Louis City and St. Louis County residents affected by the May 16th tornado. The fastest way to apply for individual assistance is online at disasterassistance.gov or by calling FEMA at 1-800-621-3362. And Metro Transit will make schedule and routing adjustments to 14 Metro bus routes in Missouri and Illinois as part of the quarterly service change. Those changes go into effect on September 8th and are available online at metrostlouis.org/service change. 62 degrees. Time now is 8:35. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
Hey, let's talk about the window store, WSWindow.net. Larry and Joe Thornton will take care of you when it comes to your windows or doors. It's as simple as that. A St. Louis company. Been in business for 37 years, and Larry, the dad, brought in Joe, the son, 25 years or so ago. And all they do is they specialize in replacement windows and entry doors. That's what they do. And they do it better than everybody else in town. Their price, I can't guarantee it, but there's a really good possibility that they'll beat every price in town. Customer service, yeah, they'll do business with a handshake and a smile. They know just about everybody you know. Their installers have been with them for 10, 15, 20, some 25 years. They deal with builders and architects and homeowners, new constructions, additions, remodels, you name it. They've got it. And they've got the style, they got the design, they got the quality, and they got the pricing. And they're St. Louis. So don't go with the out-of-town big boys. Go with the locals. Go with my neighbor, Larry, and his son, Joe. The window store. You need windows, you need doors. Go to the store. Go to the window store. 314-739-0002, WSWindow.net.
Hi, it's Jill Farmer for Premier Heating and Cooling.
Hi, Jill.
Summer temps sure put our air conditioners to the test. A few years ago, before I knew about Premier Heating and Cooling, our air conditioner was on its last legs. We decided to push the envelope and try to limp through another St. Louis summer before replacing it. We went away on vacation and came back to discover our air conditioning unit had gone on the fritz while we were gone, and we ended up with all kinds of trouble, including warped wood floors. That delay in replacing our worn-out unit was an expensive mistake. If you're limping through and you know it's time for a replacement unit, our friends at Premier Heating and Cooling can take care of you and even work with you on financing. Or if you haven't taken the time to really get your air conditioner checked out and make sure it's operating at peak efficiency, which will really help on your bills and help with the life of your air conditioning unit, Premier Heating and Cooling is the place to go. Excellent rating with the Better Business Bureau. So many of their new customers are referred by happy customers like me. PremierHeatingCooling.net. 636-916-1122.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ALL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ALL to 321-321. 321-321. That's all to 321-321.
Brendan Weesey for AAA Home Services, a local family-owned and family-run American Standard heating and air conditioning platinum dealer that's been keeping St. Louis comfortable and safe for 55 years. They service all brands, so schedule them to service your AC. And if you need a new system, they'll give you a fair and honest estimate on American Standard, voted #1 by Consumer Reports. You'll get the best pricing and tax credits of 2025. Call AAA Home Services at 636-397-3200. Online at AAASTL.com. Call AAA. We're on our way.
I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties. I want to buy your home. Any property, any condition, and always as is. I will pay top dollar with no contingencies and no inspections. You walk away with cash. So don't waste time and money making repairs and paying real estate commissions. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867. That's 314-283-0867. Or go to robankproperties.com. That's ROBANG properties.com.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, Angie Markway, who runs Altair Travel and Cruises on Brentwood Boulevard, the Milton Building, that mid-century modern classic building. You drive right by, you go to O.B. Clark's, you grab a soda, and you come out, you look at that beautiful building, and that's where you reside for all these many years. Good morning, Angie Markway.
Good morning, McGraw. What a beautiful day today is, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
gorgeous.
Like close up shop and let's go outside.
Can we work outside? You were one of those girls in high school. Can we have math class outside today? That
Those
was
are
you.
the best days. Yes. Can we go out there on that hill? Yes.
All right.
Sure.
So you sent me something that has piqued my interest. And that is going to visit the tulips in Amsterdam?
Yes. So we have Keukenhof Gardens, which is about 40 minutes outside of Amsterdam, is the Garden of Europe. And we found this incredible, well, I didn't find it. Betty at Altair, who is one of our advisors, found this new itinerary that Avalon is offering as a river cruise. And the river cruise will be visiting the gardens. So if you are, if you like flowers, this is the cruise for you, because Keukenhof Gardens is amazing. It's, 70 acres of flowers, basically. But at certain times of the year, especially in the springtime, they plant 70 million tulips. And so if you go from late March to early May, there is a very, very, very good chance that you will be part of this bloom. And it is breathtaking. And so this river cruise that Betty held space on, because she saw it and she said, this is going to sell quickly. This is really special. And so by holding the space, we have a limited number of cabins that we can sell to our clients. And you will be going... Well, first of all, you'll be traveling all through the Netherlands during the spring, which would be lovely. The sailing starts April 7th, and it's 9 nights. You fly round trip Amsterdam, so that's a great flight. It's an easy lift, here and back. You'll connect one way to get there. And you'll get on the riverboat. You will sail all through Holland, a little through Belgium, and it's going to be fabulous. So we would love to get people on board, and Betty's going to be selling it through Altair. So call Betty. She knows all the details about Avalon. Avalon is another river cruise company. There are so many river cruise companies that it's hard to keep up with. Even like Celebrity, who is a major cruise company, is going to be on the river soon. So we have lots of opportunities, but no one has this itinerary. So it's really a great time to go.
Okay, now when you said 70 million tulips, you weren't joking.
I'm sorry. I said 7 million. I'm sorry if I said 70. It's 70 acres big, the garden, but 7 million tulips. Still a lot.
Still a couple. Yeah, they got to start now. Yeah.
And this garden has a working windmill on it. So, there's other things to do. Like if you and your husband go and he's not a tulip guy, there are things in the garden to explore that are just fun, just a wonderful day to spend in this garden.
Well, first of all, if one's husband isn't a tulip guy, first thing you do is divorce him, okay? And find a husband who is a tulip guy, because who doesn't love tulips?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one. This is amazing. And it coincides because tulips, they're only around for 2 weeks at a time. So this cruise obviously coincides with that perfect 2 weeks.
Yes, it's absolutely perfect. April 7th. So it'll be perfect.
And when you say fly, would you fly from St. Louis to Amsterdam, or you got to go somewhere else first?
Well, you'll make a connection, but probably Atlanta, somewhere easy.
Right.
So you'll fly, 2 hours to get to Atlanta, or hour and a half, and then 8 hours, 9 hours to Amsterdam.
Right.
And all the details will be taken care of for you, so you just call us and you say, I want to go, and every single detail is taken care of for you.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Amsterdam in and of itself is worth going to see, just for all sorts of reasons. When we were there, we went to go see the Anne Frank's house, which is heartbreakingly beautiful, to go and walk the same steps. And my sisters had a chance to go inside and see inside Anne Frank's house. It's a pretty special place, and a lot of history, and beautiful canals and great shops, and pretty extraordinary. All right, so this sounds like a pretty fun deal. So you got to move fast, because I suspect these cabins aren't going to last.
No, they're not. I think our group space is holding maybe till the beginning of October, but so that gives you kind of a month to call Betty. And I'll kind of keep reminding you, the best way, if you want to find more details about it, is either call Altair, ask for Betty, or go on our website. On our website, you go to our featured trips. And that's our featured trips is always where you're going to find the trips that I talk about on the radio. So either our hosted trips or our group space that we held on certain things. It's a great place. Like if you don't know what you want to do and just want to look at what our featured trips are, our featured trips are kind of our best, what we think are going to be the best trips. So it gives you a good idea, like, oh, yeah, I'd like to do that,
I suspect by the time you get to the office today, the phones will be ringing off the hook to go see 7 million tulips. And right? It's like out of a movie or something you'd go and see.
Can you imagine the planning of that? Like the people who have to plant those? Like, that's a lot of work.
I plant like 40 tulips every fall, and I still don't know how. It still takes me I don't know how to do it. These 7 million tulips. That is in the land of tulips. I was, last time we were there, I was at some gift shop, and I purchased wooden tulips, painted wooden tulips. And they're just, everybody who comes in the house says, where did you get those? I'm like, I think I got them at the gift shop at the airport in Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, probably.
Yeah.
Because even people who don't go on the river, are just going to be in Amsterdam, you can get to this garden. It's only 40 minutes from Amsterdam. So they have plenty of tours. If you're not going on the river, it would be worth your time to go to that garden for sure.
From the Country Club Car Wash text line, I did the tulips 2 years ago, a trip of a lifetime. My pics look unreal, right? I can only imagine the pictures from 7 million tulips. Holy mackerel.
7 million.
Holy
I know.
mackerel. All right, good.
Really special.
All right,
yeah.
altairtravel.com. Go look at the featured trips. You can always call Betty, 314-968-9600. And for all of your travel needs, it's Altair Travel and Cruises. Good stuff, Angie. Have a good day.
You too. Have a great Tuesday. Take
you got
care.
It. What a great trip. 848 here, Big 550 KTRS. St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Good morning, Captain Paul.
McGraw, eastbound 64 is still jammed from Long to near Clarkson after an earlier crash. A crash on westbound 64 at Spady has been cleared with traffic still slow back to McKnight. Eastbound 64 bogs down around 170. Westbound 64 is busy from Hampton to Bellevue. Northbound 55 running slow from Bayless to Weber. And northbound 270 is heavy from Tesson Ferry all the way to 64. This traffic report is brought to you by Dents Express. If the severe storms have you saying, oh, hail, bring your car, truck, SUV, or van to Dents Express for a free hail damage repair evaluation. Dents Express will have your ride looking like new again, and they'll even take care of the insurance paperwork. That's Dents Express at dentsexpressstl.com. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. woodsbasementsystems.com.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Tuesday, high of 78 degrees, about 10 degrees below the normal high. Northeast winds at 5 to 10 and plenty of sunshine Tuesday. Wednesday, more cloud cover, partly, then eventually mostly cloudy, but another day with a high in the 70s, a high of around 79 for Wednesday. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton for the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, what do we got here? Let's talk about Ryan Raphael, the Medicare man. As you approach 65, you've got to make a decision, and only you can make this decision. But you want to make sure it's an informed decision, informed by real news, not by your neighbor down the street. MedicareManSTL.com is where you want to go to get the right information on your decision on what to do when it comes to Medicare, your health insurance. Are you over 65? Are you already on Medicare? And you keep hearing other people talk about how great their plan is? Yeah, how come I don't have that? How come my plan doesn't have that? Call Ryan Raphael, give him 10 minutes of your time, ask him all the questions you want, and then he will sort of, along with you, figure out what's the best way to go. He'll give you the options so you can make an informed decision. MedicareManSTL.com. He's been doing this a long time, well-respected, well-trusted, and yes, nanny approved. 314-368-6808 for all of your Medicare needs, whether you're approaching 65 or already 65. You got to have somebody who knows what's going on. It doesn't cost you any money, just good, down-home, rock-solid information so you can make an informed decision. MedicareManSTL.com.
Our students are getting unique opportunities that you just would not get elsewhere.
It does give us a lot of options to do things, room to move around and be free and hone in on the you and how that makes your creativity. I came in here not knowing a single thing about how dance can turn into singing and acting and how that can branch out into other things.
Confluence Academies and the Grand Center Arts Academy. Discover your pathway at confluenceacademy.org.
Missouri's small towns and rural communities deserve safe, accessible roadways for everyone, whether walking, biking, wheeling, catching a bus, or driving. That's why Missouri leaders and citizens in these areas are joining the Complete Streets Initiative. With Complete Streets, communities can plan for growth and open opportunities to secure funding for sidewalks, bike lanes, and trails. Small towns across the country are making it happen. Yours can too. Learn more at mocompletestreets.com.
We hear so much about quality time, but it's the quantity of time that we want. Every member of the family gets enlisted in so many activities. As quality time usurps quantity, there's so little time to enjoy the freedoms that make America the envy of the world. If we could only unplug, disengage, and spend quality time together, well, we can, in an RV. Escape into a whole new world in a Byerly RV.
Byerly RV.
Wherever you go, you're always at home in a Byerly RV.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you, bishopspost.com.
At Midland, we know sometimes all it takes is a moment for an idea to spark, or to make it happen, a moment to find your dream, or build one, a moment to start your forever, or at least start planning for it. Whatever moments you have, Midland is here for them and can help you make them. Midland, brighter together. Visit us at midlandsb.com. Midland States Bank is member FDIC.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
Ladies, ladies, run, don't walk to the computer and bring up the KTRS YouTube channel or the Facebook YouTube channel so you can get a look at our next guest. He is Ben Barnett. He is the tall, dark, and handsome. He's that rugged lumberjack that the Hallmark Channel depicts from time to time.
You know, I don't think I've gotten this kind of treatment before, so I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
Go check it out for yourself.
He's
because
shy, he's humble, he wears flannel, he's got a beard. You will not throw him out of bed for eating potato chips, as my grandmother would like to say.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you and good morning. Oh, boy.
Ben
That's how we're
Barnett.
going to start this. You know, I was listening on the way up, and
Yes.
you guys got a pretty good little radio show going here.
Is that right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should keep it up. You
Well,
know, you
after
might
we-
have something.
After that intro, the least you should do is say that. Certified arborist and the go-to guy in the region, Ben Barnett from Timberline Professional Tree Care. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning.
Thanks for the donuts, by the way.
Yeah, my pleasure. That's the cost of admission. Now, I think I heard a promo. Did Carl do a promo for me yesterday?
I did.
Oh
Really?
my goodness gracious! I
mentioned
finally
you in
get
the
the
promo.
respect I deserve around here.
Somebody from the text line texting Ben who? Ben Barnett, Timberline Tree Care. Okay, so yesterday, we were talking about insurance and insurance prices going through the roof. There was a story yesterday about insurance companies who are now going after homeowners who don't trim their trees.
Yeah, exactly. So we've had this a few times over the years, and I think the report yesterday was now they're using drones, so they're getting even higher resolution images, and they're writing letters to these folks that say, you know, you're going to be canceled within a month or 2 months if you don't trim these trees away from your house. And most of the time, they really make it sound pretty threatening. You know, you got to trim all of the branches that are overhanging the house or cut the trees down.
Right.
In most cases, from what I've experienced, if we work with the insurance company, we can write them a letter, call them, work with them, and do what's right for the trees, not necessarily what's just right for the insurance company.
So if somebody gets a letter like this, or even anybody who's just worried about their trees or their insurance company, you can work with the insurance company to sort of figure out the best case scenario.
We've done it many times in the past because they will suggest removing giant trees or giant branches from trees. Of course, they want to limit their risk as much as possible. They just want to cash the checks.
Right.
But generally, if you're talking about removing large branches from a big mature tree, you're going to cause more problems than you are doing any good.
Right.
So it's best to work with Timberline, to work with me, or at least another certified arborist to do really what's right for the tree and not necessarily, you know, what just eliminates the insurance company's risk down to zero.
It's really interesting because taking down that big branch might seem like the smart thing to do, but you're actually hurting the tree.
Yeah, absolutely. You might get immediate risk reduction, but over time, you're either going to cause a bigger problem by introducing decay into the main stem of that tree, or potentially killing the whole tree, which just costs you, you know, exponentially more money to cut the whole thing down.
If you trim a tree correctly, it will be able to withstand storms better, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, to an extent. And we've talked about risk before. You know, once we get into the 70, 80, 90 mile per hour wind range, there's really nothing you can do. But under general circumstances, normal weather type, your trees are going to be fine as long as they're pruned properly.
Yeah, interesting. And that's where you get the twisty turns and everything else.
Yeah.
And you see, but a bad tree, a lot of times, can you tell a tree is bad from the outside?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A trained eye, we can look, and I've done many consultations. You get out there with the binoculars, and you use different tools and techniques to figure out what kind of level of decays we have, whether trees are healthy, whether they have defects that can either be mitigated, or, you know, in some cases we say, you know what, this is probably not worth trying to save this thing. The risk is just too high.
How come sometimes we see trees, and we're short on time here, how come sometimes we see trees where they topple over from the roots? The tree doesn't break, it just sort of bends over from the roots.
Yeah, a lot of times we see that in the urban environments, and most of the time many of the times they are the boulevard trees between the streets and the sidewalks. There's just not much root area for the root expansion in there, so they don't have what would normally be considered a normal root zone to hold that thing up.
You've always said if you plant the right tree, you don't have to worry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we've got many. We plant hundreds of trees every year for different clients over the area, and we always recommend trees that are going to sustain it and be viable in our area.
So if you're planning on planting trees, don't do anything until you talk to Ben.
That's right. That's the bottom line here.
If you get an insurance and you're worried about some insurance letter, call Ben. Before the insurance comes and tracks you down, call you guys.
Absolutely.
If you have ash trees, get your ash trees treated. My ash trees in my front yard are big and beautiful, great canopy.
How are the ones in the neighborhood that aren't treated?
They're all dead.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, big, beautiful ash trees that are in all their glory. And the other ones are just, terrible, dead, and everything else. So here's what you do. Call Ben for all of your tree needs. What's the phone number?
It's 636-479-7475.
And this will be on YouTube, ladies, so you can rewatch at your leisure. KTRS St. Louis, the Big 550 KTRS. It is 9 o'clock.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Citing allegations of mortgage fraud, President Trump says he has fired Federal Reserve Board member Lisa Cook, the first black woman to serve as a Fed governor ever. Cook's 14-year term isn't supposed to end until 2038, and she says Trump doesn't have the authority to fire her. Here's ABC's Stephen Portnoy with more.
The Supreme Court has ruled the president has broad constitutional authority to fire federal officials, even when statutes put restrictions on that power. But in the case of the Federal Reserve, the court has recently said the president's power is more limited. This first ever attempt to fire a Fed governor will put those limits to the test. Lisa Cook now faces allegations that have not been proven in court that she lied on mortgage applications prior to her appointment to the board.
The markets have just opened and are holding near break even in the early going on Wall Street following the Fed news. Right now, the Dow is down 2 points. Across Israel, protests are escalating as Israel continues plans to take over Gaza City. The government there, meantime, is meeting to discuss a potential ceasefire plan.
An Israeli cabinet meeting is scheduled today to discuss a plan that Hamas has agreed to. That's a 60-day pause and partial hostage release. They'll also discuss the occupation plan for Gaza City. The IDF dropped leaflets over the city today telling people to move, but humanitarian groups say that would be catastrophic for the 500,000 Palestinians taking refuge there.
ABC's James Longman at the foreign desk. Kilmar Albrego Garcia, mistakenly sent to a prison in El Salvador, brought back to the U.S., accused of human smuggling and told he could be deported to Costa Rica if he pleaded guilty to that. He refused and was re-detained on Monday, but now the government wants to send him to Uganda. However,
a federal judge putting the brakes on the government's plan to deport Albrego Garcia to Uganda, saying that for now it's absolutely forbidden, suggesting that the government was punishing him for exercising his right to a trial.
ABC's Pierre Thomas. You're listening to ABC News.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
Phoenix taking a direct hit from a huge dust storm that blocked out the sun at one point. ABC meteorologist Sam Champion describes it.
Drivers hit with monsoon rain and winds of up to 70 miles an hour as the dust storm, often referred to as a haboob, rolled in, plunging the city into zero visibility. The airport damaged, its roof leaking. Over 300 flights delayed.
Nearly 500,000 customers left without power as well. The dust storm followed by that monsoon rain. Eli Lilly has released stage 3 data on its weight loss pill that acts much like injectable weight loss medications like Ozempic. Now, the drug maker who came up with Ozempic is also trying to get approval. Here's ABC medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton.
Novo Nordisk, the creator of Ozempic and now the new creator of the oral Wegovy pill, has already submitted their application to the Food and Drug Administration. And if that is approved, it would be available or could be available as early as the end of this year, as early as next year. But in terms of competitors overall, there's over 100 medications and interventions in the research pipeline for weight loss, and that, of course, could expand access.
Eli Lilly is touting data that shows the new pill leads to an average 23-pound weight loss, or about 11% of body weight. The Masters is making a rare change to who gets to play and who doesn't by eliminating invitations to PGA Tour winners in the fall, and instead will join the R&A in recognizing the winners of 6 national opens worldwide. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Back to school, back to school. Oh, hi there, it's Josh. And it's back to school time again, and that means it's back to Dogtown. Dogtown Pizza, of course. With all those practices and after-school pickups, who's got time to cook a full dinner? Why not preheat that oven and make it a Dogtown night? And with 12 different varieties, there's always something for everyone. Pick some up while you're on the go, and remember, back to school means back to Dogtown. Dogtown Pizza and DogtownPizza.com.
64 degrees at 9:05. A house explosion in North County is to blame for injuring 5 people and damaging 20 homes. This happened yesterday morning along the 13,000 block of Evan Air Drive in unincorporated St. Louis County. One of the victims, an 18-year-old man, remains in critical condition. 5 of the homes impacted by the explosion were destroyed. The cause of the explosion is still being investigated. Meanwhile, St. Angela Merici in Florissant is serving as a shelter for those impacted. Missourians could see even higher utility bills after several new laws take effect on Thursday. Among the dozens of new statutes is a significant change in state utility law that consumer advocates warn will raise electric bills by at least $600 annually for most St. Louis residents. Key to the projected increase in bills is a policy change allowing companies to charge ratepayers for construction projects while they are being built instead of waiting until they are completed. A Cole County judge has denied a temporary restraining order in a school choice case. The Missouri National Education Association had sought the restraining order against House Bill 12. The legislation would give more than $51 million to the Missouri Empowerment Scholarship Accounts Program for families to use on private school tuition. Flying soon. Some new items have been banned by the TSA. KTRS's Sobe Bay reports.
If you're gearing up for Labor Day travel, you might want to double-check what's allowed in your bag. The Transportation Security Administration recently expanded their list of banned items to include 3 new items related to hair care. No longer allowed are cordless curling irons or flat irons containing gas cartridges, butane-filled curling irons or flat irons, and gas spare cartridges for curling irons or flat irons. Traditional hair tools that plug into an outlet are still allowed in both checked and carry-on bags. Changes are happening at the TSA. Last month, the security agency removed a long-standing shoes-off policy and even opened the possibility of increasing the amount of liquids allowed on carry-on baggage. Until then, the limit remains at 3.4 fluid ounces. Sobe Bay, KTRS News.
St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office is now accepting applications for the first class of the Citizens Academy. This is a 6-week educational program that gives the public a behind-the-scenes look at how justice is pursued in St. Louis courts. Classes will begin on October 9th. Applications will be accepted through September 15th. Those applications are available on the Circuit Attorney's website. No progress was made as Boeing and the International Association of Machinists resumed contract talks yesterday. Both sides met for a few hours amid the 3-week strike. No new talks have been scheduled. This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, a place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. And now let's take a look at the markets brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement on Saturdays from 9 to 11 a.m. The Dow is down 20 points to 45,300. The S&P is up 2 points to 6,500. And the NASDAQ is down 11 points to 21,500. In KTRS Sports, Alec Burleson hit a walk-off home run as the Cardinals beat the Pirates 7-6. The game marked a record low attendance for Busch Stadium 3 with an announced crowd of 17,675. Mizzou football has announced a sellout for Thursday's opener against Central Arkansas. It officially extends the Tigers' home sellout streak to 13 consecutive games. If you can't get to, Faroe Field? Faroe Field, tune into the Big 550 for live game day coverage starting at 4:30 p.m. Thursday afternoon in KTRS Time Saver Traffic. Let's go to the KTRS St. Louis Cause Company Traffic Center for a look at the roads. Where you find Captain Paul Kopsky standing by.
Rose northbound 270 is still heavy from Gravois all the way up to 64. Eastbound 64 bogs down around 170. Westbound 64 is busy from Hampton to Bellevue, and one eastbound lane and one westbound lane of 70 are closed on the Musial Bridge until 3 o'clock this afternoon for bridge inspection. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Thank you, Captain Paul. In KTRS weather, sunny today with a high of 77. Partly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 53. And tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 78. 64 degrees. Time now is 9:09. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkis, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meyer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Gelmish & Sons have been providing quality heating and cooling services since 1950. They work exclusively with Lennox, the preferred choice of St. Louis homeowners. Call Gelmish & Sons for your next Lennox HVAC installation and service. 314-993-1110.
Navigating to and through retirement doesn't have to be complex. Listen to What Retirement Means to You with Jerry Means. Sunday mornings at 10 on KTRS, the Talk of St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I want your fixer-upper home. It's crazy to spend a ton of money fixing it up when I will pay you top dollar right now. I don't even care what condition it's in. Your trash is my treasure. No inspections, no contingencies, just cold, hard cash. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867. That's Mike Robinson, 314-283-0867, or at robangproperties.com.
The Big 550.
KTRS St. Louis. This is the McGraw Show on KTRS.
All right, we were all enjoying our summer, and then all of a sudden somebody decided to propose building a data center in St. Charles, and people's heads exploded. All while last week, Kansas City was thrilled to announce a $1 billion investment into a data center that they opened up, had a ribbon cutting for. How come Kansas City is building data centers and we don't want to build them here in St. Louis? To get to the bottom of this is the man who is at the center of this controversy, the great mayor of the city of St. Charles, Dan Borgmeyer. Welcome to the Big 550 KTRS here in St. Louis.
Thank you, McGraw.
Thanks for spending a couple minutes with us and what's a busy, crazy couple of days for you.
Check.
First, let's do a little history lesson here. Are there any data centers currently open and working in the city of St. Charles right now?
No, there are not.
There are not. Are there any data centers in St. Charles County?
I know that there's one under consideration in the Warrenton area right now. And I believe there are a couple in St. Louis, I think. I'm not sure about that.
According to I believe it was the Chamber of Commerce, the St. Charles Chamber of Commerce, or the Regional Economic Council, they said they have 8 in St. Charles County.
8 data centers?
8 data centers, yeah.
I have no clue. That's never come up in any of the conversations I've been involved in.
Oh, interesting. Okay, all right. So a lot of the controversy and lots of ways to go with this, but we'll start with take us what happened. A company came to St. Charles and said, we want to open up a data center?
Sure. Let me back up just for a minute. Those 8 in St. Charles, those may be applications because everybody wants to build one. Okay, fast forward.
Okay.
Yeah, about a year ago, we were approached by a developer who had a very dynamic, almost 450-acre development. to St. Charles. They came to us. They explained down the road that it was going to be a data center. They asked for a non-disclosure agreement, which the staffer signed, because until that point, they would tell us nothing about it. So, and that's pretty typical. I mean, I've been in business 45 years. Those things happen all the time. So, and people don't want to come in and do a $100,000 or $1 million development and have the public know all their transaction points and deals. So, it wasn't all that uncommon. In the course of the year, as we unveiled this, we got more and more information. Some of it was good, some of it was bad. And I shouldn't say good and bad. I should say advantageous and disadvantageous. So as we went through that process, we were evaluating this to pretty much the course of the last year. It got to the point where we kept saying we need to release this information to the public, and the developer would not allow us to do that. That exacerbated the whole situation. Secondary to that, which a lot of people don't understand, is much of the dialogue about deals or incentives or anything else takes place in what's called closed session in the city. And that is to protect the city, is to protect the developer, is to protect all the details of the project. When we're in a closed session, myself and the council are not allowed to speak outside that closed session about anything that took place in the closed session. So part of the problem was the NDA. Part of the problem was our own closed sessions in which we negotiated, as we always do with anybody that comes in with a project. We're bound by the codes of the non-disclosure. So as that exacerbated itself, and then obviously word got out that the development was going to be in our wellhead district, which is something we're very, very careful about. Is there any other buildings in the wellhead district? Of course there are. But this one, actually the only thing ever voted on or up for vote was whether or not they could use diesel generators in times of outages to power their equipment. So it was never about building a data center. It was never about having a data center here. It was about, if we did one, would we allow diesel generators? Those of us in the city were informed about all the safeguards. They kept saying there's 1 million gallons of diesel. Well, it was 1 million gallons of diesel over 125 generators. The spill rate was probably 80 gallons. But at the same time, I don't condone it, and I don't want 80 gallons to leak. But a lot of us in the city were advised of all the safety features that were involved. So it failed in public planning and zoning, and needed a supermajority, went to the council. Once all that happened, the public got a hold of it, and as you know, when things like that come out, somebody's hair catches on fire, they start spreading a lot of misinformation and everything else, and it pretty much got out of control to the point, and I agree with the public, we don't want diesel fuel or anything else in the wellhead, and it came up for a vote last Tuesday, and before they could vote on it, the developer pulled the petition. One of the reasons they did was because if it was voted on and failed, which everybody knew it was going to, it couldn't be reintroduced for a year. So to avoid that time period, they pulled it, but then the council, to their credit, came back and said, okay, we're going to do a moratorium for a year. Now you're up to date.
First one of its kind in the country, correct?
That's the first, to my knowledge, first time it's ever been done, yes.
Yeah. All right, lots of questions here. So first off, let's get straight to one of the controversies that you're in the middle of, and that is the argument, or the point is that this land is owned by a cousin of yours, a relative of yours, insinuating that somehow you're working some type of angle and or you're in on this deal.
Glad you brought it up. I was unaware of the buyer because the city had nothing to do with the purchase of the land. It was between CRG Clayco and the landowners. One of my former competitors in the race for mayor last year was Tom Besselman. He brought it up and said, well, you're making money because these are your relatives. I really wasn't aware of that, and I searched the genealogy. And St. Charles, first of all, we're all related one way or another. But we searched the genealogy, and it is a second cousin, once removed by marriage, and it's part of the Hallra family. Well, I have not. I know Jerry Hallra and his wife Clarice, but I haven't seen him for 30 years since my grandpa's 90th birthday party. So I had no contact with them or anything else. But this is an example of somebody trying to find a little glitch someplace that they can magnify. I have, as far as Hallra's, the thing that concerns me most is the lowball political trick that denigrates the Hallroth family, which is a great family. And it's not owned by those two people. It's owned by the heirs and everything. It's owned by the Hallroth family, not just the two people that are in question.
This area that we're talking about, a lot of people know it, a lot of people don't. This is 370 and Harry Truman. It's an industrial park, which there are giant warehouses all around there. Is the land contaminated in any way, shape, or form to begin with that they want to build this data center on?
Okay. The land itself is only contaminated by the products that were released in it. And these are two completely different arguments between the contaminated water field and the contaminated land. Basically, there are other things that have been built in the wellhead. The gentleman who came up with the whole family conflict cousin thing, he was a landfill in the wellhead. So there's been things in the wellhead forever and ever. When this crisis first happened back in 19 or 20, when I first became mayor, we went out immediately and bought $20 million worth of activated charcoal towers. And our water, even though the groundwater is somewhat contaminated, our water that's effluent out of the water plant is absolutely clean.
Okay, so it is a floodplain, is it correct? Is that correct? Yeah.
Correct.
And if this doesn't go in there, eventually something will be built there, right? You have to assume?
Yeah, there's some concern about the floodplain, and this is the way that works. It takes years to get through the Corps of Engineers. We've gone through that in our River Point development here. If you move 1 acre of floodplain land, you have to designate another acre someplace where that floodwater can go. So it's not like you're going to have 450 acres of floodplain or floodwater that has no place to go. It's part of the development plan that has to all be spelled out where the water is going to go, how it's going to offset the landfill, the floodplain, and everything else. So those things are all part of the consideration. I empathize with the citizens. They've been dealing with water problems for a long time. They don't want to do anything that will exacerbate that, and that's why the council moved, and that's why I came out against it.
Yeah, interesting. Are you against it in perpetuity? Can they bring it back in a different way, shape, or form? You might be in favor of it.
The city will address that after that resolution is addressed in a year. To my knowledge, we can't entertain anything for a year because who would come in knowing that may be banned again in a year? And these investments run well into the hundreds of millions before they ever do anything. So I'm sure there's a lot of reticence on the part of people who are thinking about it. Now, to the good side, it's millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's millions of upgrades and things for the city. But when I offset that against the risk of the water and the attitude of the people, it just wasn't worth it.
Okay, let's talk about the economic benefit to this. The argument is that it's only a few jobs, they're remote, and they're not. It's just not worth it.
This is a 10-year program, McGraw. So what's going to happen is they're going to build 2 buildings and then 2 more and then 2 more and then 2 more. That all came out at the public meeting. There'll be about 50 permanent jobs per building. I mean, it's a data center. It's computers. They don't need a whole lot, but it's about 1,000 and something union jobs over the course of the 5 or 10 years that it takes to build it.
What about the property tax that would go to the infrastructure and the schools?
It would be enormous.
How big?
I can't say, and I'll tell you one of the problems with this. One of the points we said, well, just tell us how much water you're going to use, and they said if we tell you how much water we're going to use, our competitors can take that figure and work backwards and figure out exactly what we're going to build. So that's why some of the hush hushes and some of the return on their part not to come out with a lot of these data. There, like I said, the economic development, the benefit to schools and stuff is astronomical. But everything boiled down in this particular situation to the wellhead district and the cleanliness and safety of the water.
Now, Kansas City just announced they just had a ribbon cutting like last week.
I believe it's their second one.
Yeah. Facebook, Meta came out and built one of these gigantic data centers. How was Kansas City able to handle the water problem and the diesel problem and all that stuff? And here on this side of the state, we can't get a handle on it.
Well, To be honest with you, the reason they said they came to us initially was because it was a perfect storm. We had excess grid. We had the opportunity for water. Actually, to the benefit of the city, there was excess water. But Kansas City's was not in a wellhead, and ours was. And the wellhead trumps everything in St. Charles.
Everyone say when you hear, oh, they're going to dump water into the creeks. I mean, there are environmental rules. They can't dump toxic water back into the environment.
What would happen is the water, as I understand it, in any data center is about 70% of it evaporates. The other 30% is emulsified with something in it, and that would go into the sanitary sewer system, just like out of your house or anything else, and be processed and then returned to the system just as sewer water is.
So but I mean, the water's used to cool the machines.
Correct.
It's not used to sort of dissolve the nuclear waste from this place, right?
No, it's strictly cooling water, but what I've been told is after you use it so many times, it receives some kind of emulsification or some kind of chemicals or whatever, and those then would be released into the sanitary sewer system, just like your toilet out of your house. And the eventuality of that is it's all clean and cleansed and released to get into the rivers.
So there is no danger of the water being sent back into the environment dirty or bad or environmentally unsafe.
That seems to be the case all over the United States.
Yeah. They also argue that there's not enough electricity and that my electric bill in St. Charles in Weldon Spring is going to go through the roof if you build this data center in St. Charles.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of people that look around, and if you go on the web, you can find any kind of argument against anything you want to. We were told that one of the reasons they chose our site was there was plenty of, and even in excess of, available electric.
Let's talk about the diesel real quick. I have a gas station down the street from me that sells diesel fuel. Should I be worried about the drinking water?
Not if it's not in your flood zone. And as a matter of fact, depending on where you live, most of the water, for example, Bridgeton, has a water plant. It generates 90 million gallons a day. It all comes out of the river. So most of the cities, matter of fact, most of the data centers are run on diesel power. Now, I got somebody who called last week and said, well, this is just an excuse to get them built, and then they're going to bring nuclear power into them. Like I said, you can find anything you want on the web.
Yeah.
No, you should not be concerned about. I will tell you this, though. If you buy a piece of property and there's been a gas station on it with diesel, and you have to pass what's called a phase 1 or phase 2 environmental, and if those don't pass, you can't do anything with that property.
So what was your biggest concern, or this diesel not having enough protection was one of the reasons why it failed originally or wasn't endorsed by the Economic Council?
Well, I think basically what we saw contained plenty of protection. I can't go too deeply into that. What we saw, there was plenty of protection against the diesel, but in the public's eye, the developer would not confirm or share that information, and as a result, it felt suspicious.
Gotcha.
And then it went downhill from there, and the council and I both supported their suspicions. The developer basically shot themselves in the foot early. They admitted that in the last meeting and said they were going to come back at some point. They said, we heard you, we're going to come back at some point and reapply. So,
were there any tax incentives, TIFs, TDDs, CIDs, any of those things that were affiliated with this?
I don't know exactly, but if there were, that would not be something I could divulge. Because basically it's just like Deerbergs when they came in. Anybody else that comes in, we've had a lot of developments out here. Some of them get Chapter 100s, which is no sales tax on materials. But when you do a Chapter 100, for example, McGraw, a company comes in. We just had somebody come in doing a big development, and they wanted a Chapter 100, which is no sales tax on materials. 90% of the materials, almost 100% of the materials, are not bought in St. Charles, so that has no application to our tax base.
So if this were to go through, or in the future when something like this comes up in a non-disclosure form, which certainly makes sense in the early stages, they don't want their competitors knowing and other people knowing, and trade secrets and everything else, and incentives. I guess you negotiate incentives, and it's a back and forth, and you want to be able to do it in the privacy and in the secrecy. And when would we, the public, have known if and what the tax incentives were, and if and what the company was, and everything else?
That was brought up in the city council meeting by a gentleman. Here's the problem. If I publish all the incentives that it took to bring a new factory to St. Charles, every factory that comes in after that already says, well, you gave this incentive out, you got to give us to this. I was in the automotive business for a long time, and every deal is a separate deal based upon what the requirements are to get that person in. Every city in St. Louis County and St. Charles County uses incentives to bring people in. And if you got let's use Deerberg's for example, and Deerberg's had some incentives. So now if Schnucks wants to come to St. Charles, all they have to do is go on public record and find out what Deerberg's got, and that's your starting point. So that's the reason for closed sessions, and that's the reason for financial negotiation.
No, I understand that, but eventually it all comes out.
Yes, but the other thing you have to understand is anytime an incentive is given, we have to go to police, we have to go to fire, we have to go to schools, we have to go to everybody else and make sure that they're willing to give up that percentage of their income over a long period of time or a short period of time.
No.
The other thing is we look at when something comes in, apartment complexes. Very seldom our apartment complexes don't generate much money, but they also don't have many kids that go to school. So when you go to the school district and talk about the offset, they evaluate that in terms of their income and how it would impact them.
Before the shovel ever entered the ground on this data center, would the public have known who the company was?
I don't know that. They've been so secretive about who it is. We've been told it's one of the top, 50 or 100 companies in the United States. And we have a suspicion based upon who's building these all over the country.
Yeah.
But no.
Dan Borgmeyer, larger question for you, and that is this. Donald Trump signed an executive order. He wants data centers. And data centers, everybody wants them. We need them. In the 21st century with this AI boom, this is going to be a more involved question. And whether it's in this place in St. Charles or somewhere in Wentzville or somewhere in O'Fallon or Troy or Cottleville or Weldon Spring or whatever, we're going to have to make a decision whether or not we want to be in the data center game, do we not?
I agree. I used the example the other day, and I'm obviously older than most of the people here in the city, but I said, remember Sputnik? That began the space race. Well, this is the AI race, and the United States needs to be involved in it, and I agree with the president. It's very important. They're building these all over the United States. They're not building very many in wellhead districts. So I think the people in St. Charles would favor a data center. I don't think there's opposition to data centers. I think the opposition is strictly to being in a wellhead, and the second part of that was the secrecy that was involved. I think it made people distrust the applicant.
So you think that it was where it was being built, not that it was being built?
Absolutely. And half the people in the meeting said, hey, find someplace else to put it, and it's okay. Just don't put it in a wellhead. So obviously we heard the people were elected officials, and that's the stance they're taking for right now.
Was this opposition, was it astroturfed? In other words, did one person or two people rile up everybody because they didn't like that it was ruining their view of the river or access to the highway? Or was this a true organic protest by the people because a group of citizens were concerned?
I think it started with a small group, but as that moved out, it exacerbated a lot of the things. A lot of people lived close to it and didn't know that much about it, so they were worried about the value of their house. There was all kinds of extenuating circumstances, and I think, McGraw, it became organic after it gained some momentum. But here's the other thing. Every time I look under a rug in St. Charles, and I'm a businessman, they elected me to try to run the city properly and make sure their tax dollars were protected. Every time I raise a rug and look under it, somebody's hair catches on fire, and then they come up with all kinds of lies and arguments and misinformation and everything else to try to generate strength for their side. So I've got to be a little bit immune to that. Like I said, I am not. I can't go on the web, look at two opinions, and fly by the seat of my pants. I have to have good, solid facts to advise the council. And the other part is back to the family thing and everything else. I don't even get a vote. I just recommend to the council what my impressions are, and they trust our staff to do the homework. As a matter of fact, the thing on the diesel generators received a positive approval from the planning and zoning staff.
So are you worried that this will go somewhere else and the tax benefit will go somewhere else? Not just St. Charles, but maybe Illinois, maybe the city, maybe county, and St. Charles will miss out on that tax revenue?
Yeah, I don't think it'll go out of St. Charles County if they build another one. Like I said, they're already considering one in Warren County, right at the edge of St. Charles County. Somebody's going to build it because A, it's very lucrative, and B, it's part of the space race or the AI race or whatever you want to call it, and it's incredibly good for a community. It's just not good here in the Wellhead District.
Dan Borgmeyer, the mayor of St. Charles. How long have you been the mayor of St. Charles City?
Going on 7 years.
7 years. You are always welcome here, sir. Thank you for your candidness, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you, McGraw. Appreciate being with you.
You got it. Dan Borgmeyer, who is the mayor of St. Charles. There you go. Candid conversation about the data center. All right. We are late for a break. We got to take a break. Check in with Captain Paul on a busy morning, and then phone calls, text messages, everything else. Captain Paul, St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, good morning.
Good morning, McGraw. There's a crash on southbound 270 past 70. One eastbound lane and one westbound lane of 70 are closed on the Musial Bridge until 3 o'clock this afternoon for bridge inspection. And one eastbound lane of 370 is closed on the Discovery Bridge over the Missouri River until 3 o'clock today for road work. This traffic report is brought to you by Fielder Electric. See what everyone is saying about the pros at Fielder Electric. Whether it's a new build or a 100-year-old home, Fielder Electric has you covered. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, Morelli Tuck Pointing. Got a call from another friend of mine yesterday to say, hey, I'm using one of your sponsors. Who's that? Morelli. And then they went on to just praise Morelli up one side and down the other. This company's fantastic. Customer service, look, they are so honored that you would call them for a bid. They'll do everything they can to keep you happy. They are professional. They're courteous. They do the job right. Their prices are right in line with somebody who's doing it as a side hustle. But Morelli Tuck Pointing has been in business since 1991. I've used them 2 different times now. I've had numerous friends use them. The word is out. Morelli Tuck Pointing is the gold standard. So if you've got any issues with tuck pointing, and you definitely want to get it fixed before the winter months come, because that freeze and thaw, that ruins the joints and weakens the structure, and then you get all sorts of nightmare. Call Morelli, 314-645-1387. Morelli Tuck Pointing in Maplewood, but they'll go anywhere. It doesn't matter, right? Because they'll go to where the bricks and the stones and the chimneys and the walkways, they'll go to you, and they'll do it right, residential or commercial. Morelli, the gold standard, or MorelliTuckPointing.com.
You get a really good balance of the music stuff and academic stuff, and you get great education in both here.
It's just so unique. It's so empowering. It's so uplifting. It just really helps to foster all of the creativity that lives and exists here. You can feel that when you walk in.
Confluence Academies and the Grand Center Arts Academy. Discover your pathway at confluenceacademy.org.
Since 1974, Permajack of St. Louis has been helping residential and commercial owners protect their biggest investment. From successfully solving foundation structural problems to making sure basements remain dry, Permajack has performed tens of thousands of projects on both sides of the river, utilizing state-of-the-art technology, techniques, and equipment. Permajack of St. Louis has done it with honesty and integrity, never recommending anything outside of what you really need. For many repairs, Permajack provides a transferable life of structure warranty, all while Permajack of St. Louis has earned a BBB A+ rating and accreditation for foundation settlement, bowed or buckling walls, cracks in your foundation, walls or bricks, or basement waterproofing. Choose the hometown family-owned team at Permajack of St. Louis. Schedule your free inspection and estimate at permajackofstlewis.com. That's permajackofstlewis.com. Permajack. Solid as rock.
Hi, it's Jill Farmer for Premier Heating and Cooling. Summer temps sure put our air conditioners to the test. A few years ago, before I knew about Premier Heating and Cooling, our air conditioner was on its last legs. We decided to push the envelope and try to limp through another St. Louis summer before replacing it. We went away on vacation and came back to discover our air conditioning unit had gone on the fritz while we were gone, and we ended up with all kinds of trouble, including warped wood floors. That delay in replacing our worn-out unit was an expensive mistake. If you're limping through and you know it's time for a replacement unit, our friends at Premier Heating and Cooling can take care of you and even work with you on financing. Or if you haven't taken the time to really get your air conditioner checked out and make sure it's operating at peak efficiency, which will really help on your bills and help with the life of your air conditioning unit, Premier Heating and Cooling is the place to go. Excellent rating with the Better Business Bureau. So many of their new customers are referred by happy customers like me. PremierHeatingCooling.net, 636-916-1122.
Looking for a new kitchen or bathroom? Call me, Anne Marie Bogus, the co-host of the Inside Out Show and owner and designer of Anne Marie Design Studio. Visit our website at annemariestudio.com. We can help you make your dream space a reality. We're a fine kitchen and bath boutique located in Wildwood. Our showroom phone number is 636-821-3395. And again, our website is annemariestudio.com. Let's turn your kitchen or bath into the dream reality with Anne Marie Design Studio.
Hey, it's Julie Buck for our friends at Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution, and they've been in St. Louis for over 20 years with 2 locations, one at Clayton and Lindbergh, and the other one just west of 270 on Olive. If you've got your own business and you want to have a better banking experience, look no further than Triad Bank. Their mission is to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services to you and your business. For more, go to triadbanking.com.
John Beal Roofing, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, or johnbealroofing.com. Now, look, with all this storm damage, it's not just roofing, it's gutters as well as siding. I was reading a story today about these out-of-towners who are coming in and Airbnb in the short-term rentals, making a mess, causing all sorts of problems, and then stealing all your money, right? Again, why do we use out-of-towners when you can keep it local with John Beal Roofing and other roofers? So here's what you do. If you have any issues with your roof, your siding, your gutters, and or storm damage, either storm damage that has happened or storm damage that is going to happen, you want to make sure you call John Beal, because not only do they live here, work here, and play here, but these out-of-towners come in and destroy our town and then leave. Don't give them an incentive. Get them out of here. Call John Beal and keep it local. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, or johnbealroofing.com.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, 9:41 here, Big 550 KTRS. This data center thing really is an interesting argument. It's an interesting debate. It's an interesting conversation to have, because it's not going away. And I guess we're going to have to decide as a community if we want to turn our back on the next generation. Right? These data centers, AI, artificial intelligence, it's coming, and they're spending billions of dollars, and they're building these data centers all over the place. Do we want to get into it? And not a lot of jobs, because it's a room full of computers that are computing. It's not a lot of jobs, but it's the tax base. It's the property tax. And Dan Borgmeyer, the mayor of St. Charles, couldn't put a number on the property tax that would benefit the region. But I do find it hilarious in a region that wants to curb or limit or block increases in property taxes, because property taxes are so expensive, we would just outright reject a business that would help reduce the strain of property taxes. Very bizarre. Very interesting nonetheless. Other communities are able to handle the environmental issues. Kansas City, all these other places are able to handle the water, the diesel, right? You have to have diesel as the backup generators, because when you want your MTV, you want your MTV, and if a storm comes through and somebody pulls the plug and you don't have any electricity, you got to make sure these data centers are still running, and that's where the diesel comes in. There are environmentally safe options, but we'll just wait and see what happens. But we'll see if they make another run at it. But it's an interesting argument nonetheless. As to, I guess we have to decide, do we want to be in the business that everybody is investing in? Everybody, right? Artificial intelligence and computing is the wave of the future. Do we want to be involved with it and get into this data center game? Because if we don't, how come Kansas City can? How come all these other places can? How come we can't? Very interesting. 314-931-5877. Text your comments to 84126. We'll come back, take some text messages, take some phone calls, but we ran late with that interview, so I apologize. Let's get back on track. Hey, let me tell you about Michael's Baths. Real quick, Michael's Baths, 636-775-0800. Nanny approved, by the way. Neighbor approved, by the way. KTRS approved. McGraw approved. The official bath remodeling of the Big 550 KTRS, michaelsbaths.com. Whether you are looking to redo the tub or the shower, no gimmicks, no surprises, just quality workmanship and customer service you can trust. What's great about Michael's Baths is that Michael's Baths will go in and, a la carte. They'll redo just the tub, the shower. You got a 30-year surround sound. You pull that out. You want to put in new stuff. Michael's Baths can do it. It's guaranteed for life. Custom fits. All great designs, great new styles, and they'll do it 30 to 50% cheaper than everybody else in town. Did I mention they were Nanny approved? She always wants me to say that because she has used, I don't want to say all my sponsors, but most of the sponsors. And she had a little crush on Michael's Baths, that's for sure. michaelsbaths.com, 636-775-0800. So if you're planning on redoing your bath, do yourself a favor. Before you agree to anything, call Michael at Michael's Baths and see for yourself. michaelsbaths.com.
Hello, St. Louis. My family's been in the car business for almost 85 years, and I'm so proud to have two of my sons join the Londoff team. Together, we are continuing the Londoff commitment to great customer service. When you buy a vehicle from our family, you can be sure you'll get the best price and the best service. Are you kidding me? Price brings people in, but service keeps them coming back. Stop in today or shop 24/7 at Londoff.com. Everybody's a winner at Johnny Londoff Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
When you pay for tree work, you want to be sure you're getting the most for your hard-earned money. That's why you should always use the ISA certified arborist at River City Tree Service in Baldwin, Missouri. Hi, I'm Steve with River City Tree Service, and we've been the go-to tree service since 2008. Tree removal, tree trimming, storm damage, deadwood removal, stump grinding, and more. Give River City Tree Service a call for all your tree service needs at 314-270-8071. That's 314-270-8071. River City Tree Service.
A legendary weekend is coming to the Lou. Don't miss the Stiefel Charity Classic presented by Compliance Solutions, September 4th through 7th at Norwood Hills Country Club. Watch PGA Tour champions compete and enjoy a live performance by music sensation OAR at Friday's community concert presented by CarShield. Tickets start at just $20. Kids, military, veterans, and first responders get in free. Get your tickets today at StiefelCharityClassic.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella Window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a banner day.
Worldwide Technology Raceway is the only track in America to host a NASCAR event, an IndyCar event, and an NHRA event. Don't miss the upcoming NASCAR Xfinity Series, the NASCAR Cup Series, Enjoy Illinois 300, and the NHRA Midwest Nationals, all happening in September. The track, under the leadership of owner Curtis Francois, continues to upgrade the race experience for fans who come from around the country. For tickets, go to WWTRaceway.com.
By the way, we'll go to the phones here in just a second. Just a point of contention I got to go back to my notes here, but I'm pretty sure that somebody who knew what they were talking about, Chamber of Commerce, St. Charles Chamber of Commerce, St. Charles Economic Development Arm, I've talked to 8 million people, but I thought somebody told me that there were at least 8 data centers in St. Charles to begin with, and 1 in the city of St. Louis. Now, I asked Dan Borgmeyer. He said no, so I'll do a double check on that. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying he's wrong, or I'm not saying I'm wrong and he's right. I'm just saying that there seems to be some confusion. very easily could be me. But I'll do a little background on that and get back to you tomorrow. 9:48 here, Big 550 KTRS. Bob, thanks for holding on. You're in the Big 550 KTRS. Good morning.
Hey, thanks for doing that interview. You provide such a public service by doing these, and you do, really good interviews. So thanks to you, and thanks to Dan Borgmeyer for coming on and subjecting himself to the questions. So that was all great. I thought I had heard, and I'm no source. I thought there were like 8 data centers in the St. Louis metro area, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I think yes. The short answer is I thought there were more data centers in if you include the city and the county and St. Charles. I thought there were more. I don't know. Maybe we're confused as to what you call a data center versus what they call a data center. What is considered a data center? My bedroom when I was a young man was a data center, if you know what I mean. Hey-o. But I don't know. I mean, I'm going to do a little checking on that today and find out, because we should know, and we should know. We should have some grasp of it. The other thing, too, is they're very, very, I don't want to say highly secretive, but secretive in that you don't necessarily want to tell the world there's a data center here, because you don't want to call too much attention to it, because that's security issues, right? You don't want somebody blowing it up. You don't want somebody knocking it down. You don't want somebody, throwing a rock at it or whatever, because, these things have to sort of maintain a level of security. So you don't necessarily want to, tell the world, Worldwide Technology built their headquarters out here and put a big old sign on it, right? I mean, you wouldn't necessarily put a sign and say, hey, data center. So.
Well, that was the thing to me that came out that I noticed in the interview, is a number of times that Mayor Borgmeyer mentioned secrecy, and I never would have thought about that. I would have thought all these companies pretty well know what each other's doing, but apparently not. And the secrecy was a big part of his presentation.
Corporate espionage is huge, is absolutely huge. And so, there are all sorts of reasons why a company would want to keep it quiet.
Can I ask you one other question?
Sure.
I'm a big fan of Roses, but Missouri plays their football games where? Did she say the Farad Center?
First of all, we've all misspoken from time to time. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And she thought she was checking to make sure it was Faroe. She's human. All that proves is that Rose is human.
I'm just teasing her.
And I like roses too, but I prefer tulips.
Oh, brother.
Bob, have yourself a good day.
You too.
9:52 here, Big 550 KTRS. Let's get into Neighbors Credit Union, because you've heard me talk about smart accounts. How about debit for a day? It's a new checking account at Neighbors Credit Union. This is great. Neighbors Credit Union went out into the community and sat and listened to their customers and the general public and asked them a whole bunch of questions. What do you guys want in a checking account? And they compiled all the things you want in a checking account and made it debit all day. One of the big things they found out is that they don't want overdraft protection, right? They want to make sure you can't bounce a check, you can't bounce a swipe. And so, part of this debit all day is they'll make sure, right, no extra fees on this thing. It will be your money, and that will be the way it works. It's attached to your app and a wallet and everything else. So it's all the benefits of a 21st century debit card combined into one at Neighbors Credit Union. So if it's debit all day, people are running. They're not walking, they're running to Neighbors Credit Union to set up a debit all day account. Whether it's that or a smart account or both or something else, Neighbors Credit Union is your go-to. 314. No, check that. Don't call. Walk in. 8 area locations. NeighborsCU.org. 8 area locations. NeighborsCU.org. Do we break or we keep going?
Let's break.
All right, let's break. Let's see here. There's a difference between a data center and a massive data center being proposed in the floodplain. It's zoned light industrial. This massive data center is not light industrial. Yeah, I don't know if it's a whole new category or something. It's not any industrial. It's just a room with computers. And you want to make sure they're cool, and you want to make sure it's always running. So you got to have a backup generator, and you got to have water that uses the water to sort of cool the area.
Technically, we have a data center in that other room. The rack room.
I mean, everybody, technically, I guess, right? Every computer room in an office is a quote-unquote data center.
And they keep them cool.
But one is massive, and one is the broom closet at the end of the hall. 9:54, Big 550 KTRS.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Imagine feeling trapped, helpless, and afraid. That's what partner abuse creates. Alive is here to make sure that you get the help for yourself, your children, and your pets. Hi, this is Guy Phillips inviting you to participate in Alive's annual golf tournament at auction September 8th at the beautiful Legends Golf Course. Gather a foursome, sponsor a hole, or just make a donation. And all donations get a Missouri tax credit of 70%. Get all the information at alivestl.org. Together, we'll end the cycle of abuse.
The Frank and Jill Show.
Hi, this is Frank Cusimano from The Frank and Jill Show. Join us for Tuesday's program. We're going to be joined by Dr. Rick. Get those questions in on the text line. And Joe Holloman from the Post-Dispatch. That's The Frank and Jill Show coming up Tuesday at 10 o'clock.
Frank Cusimano and Jill Farmer,
weekdays 10 to noon.
right here on KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
Here's the text of the day. We'll receive a free Country Club car wash with the text of the day, and this one's a good one from the 314. Kind of ironic that St. Charles citizens railed together on Facebook, which requires data centers to run. That is the text of the day. Anyone who's played here's another one. Anyone who's played Sim City knows it's a high-tech industry. There you go. I'm confused. What does surround sound have to do with Michael's baths? You know, the surround, the bath surround. You know, the sort of fiberglass bath surround. What did I call it? The surround system? You know what I meant.
Surround system is not the same as surround sound.
I bet the Geospatial Center has use of a data center. Yes, it does. What else we going on? What's better than roses on a piano? Tulips on an organ. Hey-oo.
Are you 6?
It's from I'm just reading from the text line. One more. We probably need to be clear on the definition of a data center. On the data center issue, why so secretive about who it is? Check out the company called Planeteer. I've heard you discuss the data centers, and we agree with your assessment. There are generators everywhere, roofs, on buildings downtown, fire and police stations. Thanks for having him on. I don't believe him, but at least you had him on. Kudos. Good morning. I love the Antenna French segment. When you have a minute, Google DeKalb, Illinois, Facebook data center, massive investment on farmland. Yes, it is. Kansas City just opened up $1 billion Facebook one. They're going up everywhere. And I guess we don't want them. Or was it just the floodplain you didn't want it in? Is it okay if we put it somewhere else, right? I mean, think about all the things we didn't want built in the last year and a half. We don't want bike paths. We don't want houses. We don't want data centers. We didn't want the Chesterfield downtown to be built. I mean, everywhere you go, there's somebody complaining about, oh, we don't want to build parks in Clayton. Remember, they wanted to build those parks where Fontbonne is over there? Oh, heaven forbid we actually want to build a park where kids can come and play. I mean, we don't want to build anything anywhere, ever. So what's the point? I have just enough time to tell you about Rudy Beck, and then I got to go. Frank and Jill will take over. Then you'll really hear it. Rudy Beck and Jay Lennox and Carolyn Stolzer, they run BeckElderLaw.com. It's about protecting your assets. And from the last generation to this generation to the next generation, you want to protect what you have worked so hard to acquire. And you don't want Uncle Sam or anybody else coming in and messing it all up. That's why you got to have your trusts in your state and all of that figured out. Something we all love to put off until tomorrow, but don't. Call Rudy, call Jay, call Carolyn, get on the calendar, let them then handle it from there. All you need to do is get on the calendar. How do I know this? Me. I buried my head in the sand. Finally, I was forced to, and luckily I did it just in the nick of time. Rudy Beck took care of everything else. BeckElderLaw.com. BeckElderLaw.com. Thanks for putting up with me. We'll see you tomorrow.
Mizzou football.
It's a rushing touchdown, and Missouri extends the lead.
KTRS AM, FM 1061, K291CW St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. President Trump now saying that Federal Reserve Board Governor Lisa Cook has been fired, while Lisa Cook says the president doesn't have that authority, and she's denying allegations. She filed false information about loans she took out for mortgages. ABC's Rachel Scott has more from Washington.
The president pointing to allegations first made by director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, Bill Pulte, that Cook committed mortgage fraud. Pulte says he referred the case to the Justice Department. It's a similar allegation President Trump and his administration have made against political adversaries in recent months, targeting New York Attorney General Letitia James over real estate records and accusing Democratic Senator Adam Schiff of mortgage fraud. Trump himself was convicted of falsifying business records.
Lisa Cook is the first black woman ever appointed to the Fed and has 13 years left on her term. Just in from Washington, the Trump-appointed federal judge overseeing the Department of Justice